guys that go fast and get hurt, they all say one thing to me. They say, damn, John, I got hurt. Maybe I got to be safe. I got to be careful. I say, no. I need you to continue to drive crazy. I need you to continue to drive irresponsibly. I don't need you to get safer. I need you to get more technical. So you are who you are. You're going to do what you're going to do. It's what drives you. It's what you like. It's what you're into. Fuck safety. Get technical. And a technical rider is better than a safe rider. Always will be. So watch MotoGP, because that is the creme de la creme of anything on two wheels. Don't try to hide, 'cause I'm gonna hold you like an animal.
So welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the EVlution podcast. Today I have John Angel with me. He is a local Onyx rider, an e-bike rider, local guru. I like to think he's like an Uncle Moneybags to everybody, in the sense of he's a guy that doesn't have to worry about too much, so he can be honest with you. He can
That's true.
Ride around with you.
That's true.
Seems like you have infinite time on your hands.
I do, and I get hit up for money all the time, and I give none of it. It's great.
Yeah, that's probably a good rule to stand by.
Yeah, it is.
Cool, man. So, on the podcast, I've had people who are, unicycle riders. We had Kevin last. He obviously rides an e-board, but one of my biggest fascinations recently is e-bikes. I don't own one.
Right.
I'm around a lot of you guys. One of my best friends, Chris, built one from semi-scratch. It's kind of a frame kit. So I'm like really intrigued by it, but I don't know anything about it, in the sense of like I understand the ins and outs of the unicycle world, like the powers, the range, everything about it I kind of get. I know how it's wired and all that jazz. I feel like when you talk about bikes, even on like your Instagram, I'm like, what is he talking about?
This is
what
good.
is he saying?
This is good. I appreciate it, because that means that you're probably going to believe whatever I tell you, and I can convince you of anything because you don't know better.
It's true. Right on. So why don't you give me a little rundown of, like, how did you get into e-bikes? And, yeah, like, how long have you been in the city? Like, how did you connect?
Well, I'll answer it in that specific order. Let's see if I can remember it. So I was out with a girlfriend a couple blocks from home on some scooters, the same kind that Bird scooter rents out. And we saw this bike fly by us. This was at night, and we saw this sexy looking e-bike just pass us. Next day, went to Philip Hockey, and I said, I think that's the bike I saw fly by us, take my money.
Sure.
And as I was leaving the store, Jerry Fung showed up with his Onyx.
Ooh.
And so here I was standing there with this Super 73 S1, thinking I had fucked up.
You just bought it? You actually paid.
And so I bought that S1, and I was like, fine, I'm pretty sure this is the bike we saw fly. And I talked to Jerry for like 2 minutes, and I go home, and 2 hours later I buy an Onyx without researching it, without really knowing anything about it.
So you presumably you're trying to sell that Super 73 immediately.
No, I enjoyed it. It was interesting. I went to a group ride like about a week later. I think it was like my second real group ride. And what was interesting is it was a monthly group ride, and at the second month it had become my group ride. I didn't know this. People had to clue me in. And so it put me in a really weird position where the person who the group ride belonged to, I would be telling other people, why don't you like him? He's adorable. What's wrong with him? I'm like older. I'm potentially going to gray out any second. I'll be gone, And but anyway, that's what happened. And so when I had a great time. I did the Super 73 group rides. Had a fun time with that. And, right around October, it was getting colder. And I get these emails and phone calls. They're like, oh, your Onyx is on the way. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I just completely forgot.
The lead time was long enough.
Completely forgot. And they're like, oh, we're actually trying to deliver this bike on your birthday. No. And I'm like, and for me, again, people are trying to clue me in. I'm like, what did I do? I was not up to anything. But anyway, that's kind of how it started. And there's more to that story. But I'll go back to your question. So I was actually born in Colombia. Mm-hmm. Came here when I was 4, raised in Long Island. I went to college in Florida.
What college did you go
Florida State University.
So did I.
What?
Yeah. Went to FSU.
No wonder you're smart. No wonder you're smart. I knew there was something about this
I didn't
guy.
graduate from there, though. I moved to a film school.
Hey,
but...
you know, a lot of dropouts succeed as well, too. But, yeah, no, I started an IT company down there. Then we opened up in Las Vegas, and that Las Vegas office moved out to LA, and then I came back home to New York to open up our New York office, and I've been back ever since. So that's what I do.
You still run that company?
I still run that company, and I actually recently bought a law firm. So now I'm looking for trouble because now I can get out of trouble easier.
Don't you own some real estate too? Yes.
Quite a bit, yeah.
That's like the ticket right there, right?
Well, you anybody listening, you actually might be renting from me now and not realize it. But the way you know you're renting from me is that your rent's really goddamn high. If it's really high, anyway. But yeah.
And potentially during the pandemic, you gave them a break.
Up until 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, from March till 2 weeks ago,
So
nobody had to pay rent.
Your tenants, was the break just a postponement, or was it like a break?
It was just, you don't owe me, don't pay rent, don't bother paying rent. I'll let you know when I need you to pay rent.
So they don't back owe you?
Nope, nothing.
Wow.
I was like, this is really messed up.
You're living up to your last name.
Yeah, so when the news came out of this other guy, this, I don't know, Giambi something up in Queens about his rent being free, I'm like, fuck him. Like, you know.
I've been doing this.
I've been doing this before you, you know. But no, it was really cool. People cried. They wrote me a lot of nice things. They said a lot. And I was like, you're awesome. Why wouldn't I do this for you? Like, don't worry about it. People have helped me out. I have no problem doing this.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a little bit. Most people's situation is not that. Mine was a little bit not that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But I think a lot more of us could really, really do this. We're just not used to making these decisions and really thinking through, but a lot more of us can really afford more things than we realize.
Yeah,
you know, and so there are. I have friends that have done things like this throughout this pandemic, and it helps. It's bad. It's the one thing I've learned about humanity is people, when they have a hard time or something painful happens or something bad happens to them, people have a bad habit of keeping it to themselves. And so this pandemic is showing that there's a tremendous amount of pain happening and been happening, but you walk out on the street, you hang out with friends, and it's like, wait, this is just like January. This is like last March, you know? So, but I found it. I've noticed it. I picked up, I can see people suffering and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mentioned to you that my office here, that, well, I don't know if he listens to this, but
is this rent free here too?
Free.
Let me talk to your landlord here.
You should. Yeah. So my lease is up. Like my 3-year lease is up in like March or May. One of the M's.
Right.
Anyways, I pay like $50 in trash fees a month, which is like probably nothing for most buildings that are commercial. I don't know, but
Right.
I really got hit hard since I run a post-production company.
Right.
Like we haven't had a lot of work in a long time. And all I asked for was a break on the garbage fee. I said, can I just not pay you the $50? I didn't say, like, can I not pay you at all or something. You know,
Wow.
like I said, and he was like, nope. I'm like, I'm not even, at the time I went to Florida, I'm like, I'm not even there using the garbage. Because the fee is because the Navy Yard pays a company to come take all the trash. So,
Right.
so they charge us all some kind of fee. Surely they're making a profit off of that. But I'm like, no one's here. Like, how much are they bringing that trash collector in?
More than likely, it's contractual. Not with you, but the party that they pay to clean.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that, because in the contract that I have with this spot, there's nothing about a garbage fee at all. He asked me in the middle of our lease, I guess he was getting free garbage for the longest, so why it wasn't in our contract. So he said, hey, they're not charging me.
It sounds like your landlord needs to get a good lawyer, because you can actually get that back.
It's probably like a few $100.
You know?
But it's like, anyway, so it's not in the contract about the garbage fee. So when he asked me, like, could you maybe help me with the garbage? Yeah. I was, I think, more than generous, because I don't nearly use as much trash as he does, because like I'm alone here a lot of the time.
Right.
And I said, I'll pay you half. It's like $100 a month, I guess, what he's paying. So I'll pay you half. So then when the pandemic hit, I was like, hey, since I'm not even there, can I not pay you that fee? And he was like, nope, you owe me every cent.
You know, if I happen to tell people to bring their garbage here to you, and it shows up, don't act surprised.
Make that $50 worth its every cent.
I would if I were you. I'd just call friends and be like, "Hey, how's your garbage? Bring it over. I'm good. I'm paying this fee. Let's make it happen." That's what I would do.
Anyway, so now you're in the city. You've been here. How many years have you been in New York?
Back in New York, I'm going on to 12 years now.
I think so. Same time frame, basically.
Yeah.
12 or 13, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're like New York babies together.
Yeah. Raised here, left for school, came back. I learned that as much fun as I had in Florida, I don't want to go back, and you can't make me go back.
I kind of feel the same way.
Exactly.
I mean, I went back to like stay with my parents during the pandemic and stuff, but I'm not gonna go back.
I had a great time. The funny thing is, I can't shit talk because I had an exceptionally wonderful time. I actually had a horse. I actually played polo. Lived in a great area. Had boats. I know. I'm actually a very interesting person, but I can never get over the fact that all these people don't go to the beach. I'd be
right.
Like, that's so weird. You live here.
You were in northern Florida, yes?
I was in Sarasota.
Okay, so my parents are in South Florida, where
Naples.
9 out of 10 people, they're near Miami. 9 out of 10 people have a pool in their backyard. Doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. You basically probably have one, and almost none of them use it.
Exactly.
And to your point, and none of them go to the beach.
It's so weird. Like you could look at anybody's life in Florida and you'd easily, predictably be like, okay, I can tell what you convinced yourself of to move down here, but you're not exercising any of it.
I mean, it's probably similar for every city in America, correct?
Yeah, to some degree.
Here,
yeah,
a lot of people who live here have this strange, like, inward elitist mindset, is the way I think of it. Like, they're like, oh, I don't go to Broadway shows. Why? You can't afford it? That's one thing.
Yeah.
Why? That's like a thing. Tourists do it. You're like, huh? What? It's probably similar to like people who live in Orlando who are like, I don't go to Disney World.
It's like, I don't know. It's like that promising little story that a lot of guys tell themselves when they get on Tinder. I'm going to get on Tinder. I'm going to meet somebody. Five months later, their friends are like, you haven't been on a date. It's okay. I got this. Don't worry about it.
It's just weird. Like that you would just, yeah. Anyway, so it's just, I'm sure that's probably true about a lot of places where you live. People don't do the thing, like the reason why you live in a place like New York is like, you go out to eat because we have some of the best food on the planet here. We have the Broadway shows. We've just, you and I have a very unique experience of, I feel like we, in a different way, take full advantage of New York.
Oh, absolutely.
We ride around and are in it. Like the day I'm forced to move out, if that ever happens,
right,
I'll be like, I spent a good time.
You know the city really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to roll down your window. You're out there. You're seeing a lot. The thing with the e-bikes and the EUCs, it's sometimes you got to tell yourself to slow down because it kind of hits you like, I've never been down the street. This is cool. I should come here. I should do something here as well.
I've been trying to tell the EUC guys to do that. Slow down a little bit.
Oh, well,
just to smell the roses. You know what I mean?
But they look really good going fast.
That's fair.
That's the thing. If you look at somebody on a Sherman hauling ass, it's pretty badass.
I was racing David the other day in Central
he lost.
Park.
He clearly lost, right?
So here's what's interesting. Yes.
Because he always loses.
Of course he does.
I hope David's listening to this because
at the beginning I said, listen, let's do a race. If I win, I get your next RS that comes in the mail for your company.
Oh, wow.
If I lose, you can take my Sherman. And as soon as I said that, the whole crowd was like, oh. And he goes, no, I'm not taking it. He was like, no one needs to die tonight, Mickey. And I was like, come on, are you chicken? And he goes, I'm not taking it. But then, the ground rule was we're not racing, right?
Right.
So then we're like riding, and all of a sudden I see David fly past me. So I go, oh, I guess we are kind of racing unofficially. So I went and I smoked him.
Yeah.
And I was gone for like a good 2 minutes. I was 48 miles an hour, gone. Mm-hmm. He's not around. Then I slow down because I'm like, I mean, what am I doing now? I'm just like alone up here.
Yeah, we actually just ruined it for David. Now the jig is up. Anytime he says he's not going to race, he's going to race.
Yeah. So then he catches up to me, and then he flies past. And at that point, like, I'm not into it. Like, you already said we're not racing.
Right.
So I'm not going to try to just murder my battery.
Right.
And so I just took it. So, to be fair, I did kind of catch up to him again. And we kind of like, then we had a fun time, like, just riding next to each other at top speed, like, beeping like crazy on our wheels and stuff. But then when we got to the end, he was like, everybody showed up, and they were like, so who won? And he was like, I won. David claimed that he won. I was like,
that's him.
what?
Yeah.
That you cannot claim that.
You'll still be saying that 5 years from now. So now you know you got to walk up to him and say, hey, David, what's up, man? Let's not race.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's
tonight, the last thing we'll ever want to do is race.
Well, you know, I will race David again and beat him like I have many, many times. But this time I will tell everyone. You know, I'll just put it out there. I'll make a T-shirt and everything.
Plus, what is Central Park? A 6-mile loop or something like that?
Central Park is a hard place to race, actually.
It is. There's a lot of turns.
A lot of turns, yeah.
So basically, like after I've smoked for someone for 2 minutes that already said they don't want to race me,
Right.
what's the incentive for me to continue flying and wasting my bet? Like, where does it stop?
Well,
it's 6 or 13-mile loop. It's one or the other. I forget.
Yeah. It's like I was telling the girlfriend today with one of our friends that had recently put up a relive video of racing through Central Park, and I was telling her, I was like, that's really hard. And I was like, and there's a lot. So I pointed at the street corner and I said, I'd rather fly through this intersection than race at Central Park, because there's a lot of things that are very different. Like when people go and experiment with drugs for the first time and fuck up, they go to Central Park to hide and trip out. So you're racing down Central Park and you got a very different variety of people not knowing how to use the roads. And they have giant painted things that say bikes and pedestrians. But
where's the uni? That's what I want to know. Where's that painted?
In the car lane, where it belongs. It's in the car lane, which is, I got to say, man, one of the things about living in the city, like, you know, I hear it and I see it and I experience it, like how much this city genuinely likes us. They like the e-bikes, they like the UCs. Dude, I have conversational cops all the time about
Me too.
this. They love us, you know?
I concur. I've every time a cop approaches me to ask a question, it's always because I'm like stopped at a stoplight and he's grinning from ear to ear and was like,
exactly.
What is that thing?
Yeah.
They don't care. No one's out to. There's this like very weird mentality on the internet, let's say, where people think that there's this like you're gonna get us banned scenario. It's such nonsense, especially in New York. Look outside of New York City. I'm sure the rest of the world functions better.
Oh, I had.
We live in a huge gray area.
Yeah, I had somebody on Facebook months ago be like that. Posted a video. He's like, "You're gonna get us in trouble," and I said, "Just because you told me that, I'm gonna go faster. I'm going to really ruin this for you. I'm going to make it really bad."
I feel like that there's guys in Scandinavia that always yell at us here in New York, the EUC guys, and they're like, because of you, like, they're going to ban it in my country. And I go, good. If your country is so stupid that they're going to ban your device because they saw a numbnuts, no name like me in New York City doing it, you deserve it.
You know, funny enough, the other day, I was thinking about the YouTube that I'm going to start, and I thought about countries like that, and I said, I'm going to call out those countries in positive, fun, interesting ways. And it's like you're doing your video, and you take a moment, and you literally talk to, what's up, Japan? You mention that country, and you say something maybe you know or a question.
Yeah, I'm going to steal it from you.
Yeah, steal it, because it's like pulling in. You know, because the thing, I feel really bad for everybody on the other side of the pond, and there's a relevant point to this. Have you seen the laws, like in Spain and France, Australia, about e-bikes alone? It's terrible. It's like,
yeah, I don't really quite understand why they're making these rules. Like, I don't think they've had anyone doing what we're doing here to warrant them.
No, they behave better than we do, and they're limited to 15 miles an hour. In like France and London, less than 2 months ago, they updated their law from 15 miles an hour to 20, and they think they're being generous. You got an e-bike, you can't go more than 20 miles an hour.
I have to wonder, maybe we can do a grand experiment when all this nightmare is over with the pandemic, but like what would it be like if the entire New York Onyx crew somehow had their Onyxes in France and we're just doing what we do here over there?
We'd be running from their cops. Straight up.
I would love to see that.
I would have that GoPro mounted backwards on the bike and filming that chase. That's what would happen.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It's cultural differences, all I can chalk it up to be, because like, I just don't understand it.
I think it's because they're older than us. I think Europe in general, the other side of the pond, acts the way they do because they're the 90-year-old anxiety-filled version of us. You know, they have a lot more experience. So they're
like the Joe Biden version.
Yeah, they're like the Joe Biden version that he won, by the way. Joe won.
Is it officially called now?
We don't need to. We know he won.
We know, but you know it's going to get dragged out till Thanksgiving.
I'm really curious to see how long he's going to drag this out.
He's
know?
gonna drag it out till every judge says, "Listen, dude."
It's, you know, if he drugs it out, people are gonna really turn on him. There's gonna
You
be.
think? I think they're gonna. I think it'll turn. America will turn on itself.
I saw something today. I remember today was kind of a special day because it reminds me of this very same day when Trump won last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so many people in my life freak the fuck out, just freaking out, even to the point of making me uncomfortable. And I was telling people, shut the fuck up. I get it, he won, but you know. So there's the saying that I have. It goes, "Life is unfair, but that's a good thing because you could work it to your advantage," right? But yeah, for a week after he won, people were just freaking out.
New York was a weird place.
It was a, yes, thank you. That's the best way to put it. But today, it was calm as a Hindu cow.
It was last night too.
Yeah,
Very calm,
it was weird.
despite this one
Right.
peaceful protest that nothing really happened
And if he
with.
drags out this election, those calm people are gonna really, they're gonna protest down the street. It's gonna get, we're gonna potentially see something very interesting in this election if Trump tries to drag it out. Just shit's gonna hit the fan. We're gonna see some unusual stuff. That's what I
Yeah.
predict.
No, I think a lot of people, usually my like hardcore lefty friends, say that well, he has no plans to leave or whatever.
Well, by the way, Donald Trump is a big e-bike fan. Just to let you know.
Is he really?
No, but I assume he is.
Who was it? Oh, Simon Cowell probably formerly was an e-bike fan.
Oh man, he got on a really powerful bike. He shouldn't had no business.
It's like a
being on.
motorcycle, isn't it? They call it a bike, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, how do you break your spine on an e-bike?
This thing is like 3 times the power of an Onyx, and an Onyx can take a Lambo, Aventador, the line, a Porsche 911. I've done it.
Wow.
So a friend of mine's got a CabWorks Recon. It's the big brother to the Onyx, and this thing's when the customers get it, they dial it down. Well, fun fact about Onyx: when you buy an Onyx RCR, it's actually 50% of what it can do. So it's noticeably dialed down.
Interesting.
When an Onyx, for example, if you learn about it and people trust you, that know the bike, and they help you program the bike to be more powerful. Fun little fact, when an Onyx gets away from you, it doesn't go straight. It goes up. The bike doesn't go like this if it gets away from you. It actually wants to do this. So it's I've got the pictures and videos.
That feels appropriate to like a high-powered motorcycle.
Yeah, it's a very, very powerful vehicle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going back, we went through politics there for a minute. So you got the Super 73, immediately regretted it. Like 2 hours later, you got the Onyx.
I didn't regret it. I had
there's a little regret.
I knew I fucked up, but I knew I was going to make the best out of that S1, and I did.
That's fair. I still think you were like,
well, I knew that once that
there was a
Onyx
groan.
arrived, like the day I ordered it, I was like, okay,
life changed.
Yeah, as soon as that Onyx arrives, I'm throwing the Super 73 in the dumpster. You know, I'm not even going to bother selling it. I'm just going to dumpster this bike because it's just, you can't compare. But, you know, I love them both. They're great bikes, and getting that experience was also great.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you took the dive into the Onyx situation, and you loved it. Now, walk me through, like, what was your journey to, like, now I sort of see you, again, I'm not a giant person in the community of e-bikes, but as one of the more experienced, sort of like intellectually astute as far as how the ins and outs of it work, riders in New York. How did you get to that point from the guy who just was like, I need that thing, and then I got the wrong thing, and now I got the right thing?
So I got the bike, and I just became fascinated with it because it's one of the few e-bikes that's a giant Lego toy. You can really, really play with it and you can lose hours of your life to this bike. This past 7 days, I must have screwed around the bike easily 20 hours just tinkering with it because you can do that. So I got the bike, got fascinated, got carried away, started posting about it, educating people. So everything I'd learned, I'd share it with people. And so that's how I started. So I'd share it, and I didn't realize I was building a reputation. And the company came to me, basically, in their own way. And couple of weeks, months later, turns out we're all friends, you know. So Onyx Motorbikes is a friend of mine. I'm a friend of theirs. And this battery thing came up, this battery issue where people were saying their battery was cutting out sooner than it was supposed to be. And I found it as an opportune moment to write the holy grail on battery balancing. So I learned that to the science. And I didn't know that what I was going to write was like research material type stuff. So it could have been a PR nightmare for Onyx, but it wasn't, because I was like, oh, this is a problem. I could solve this. And so I wrote it on the blog. And next you know, Onyx is telling their customers about the blog. They're like, here, follow John Angel's, you know, balancing thing. Follow John Angel's. John Angel even wrote a whole thing on ordering an Onyx RCR and that experience and the legalities and, you know, what it's like to have it in New York and in your state and things you should know. And, you know, James, the owner, wonderful, wonderful guy. That Onyx that I have out there was actually a gift from him. And I expect many more, James, many more Onyx RCRs.
James, if you're listening,
yeah,
I've told John off air and now again on air, I'm a big fan of Onyx. So
yes. Yeah.
Little old poor Mickey here can't pay his garbage money.
Well, the one thing about, I got to say, one of the first things about Onyx, and this is not a plug for the company, they're really good at relationships. They're one of the most comfortable, easy, normal.
They seem like
this podcast is like chilling out with Onyx. It's, no one's got to try hard. You just showing up is half the battle. So, you know, conversations, you know, we all took our time. That company, me, and nobody was trying to do anything. Neither would they. And it just graduated on its own. And people were like, you're the king of king. You're the god. You're the e-bike god. And you're the guy to go to for these things. And so what I started doing was building up the people around me, in both on Facebook and in the communities, and finding what they had to offer, what they wanted to offer, and just slowly but surely doing that. And really was the same methodology I did with Onyx. I will take credit that, you know, I put a little time into the company of like, here's a little shovel, do it this way, and it worked. But then it turns out there was this guy named David Shaw. Same way. He's like, we're the East Coast, West Coast counterpart of each other. Wonderful guy. And I found that he was doing the same thing I was doing. He was having very authentic conversations with the company and giving them wonderful advice, and him and I became friends. So we could spend hours on the phone. I actually actively avoid trying to talk to David Shaw because I enjoy it so much. I know we'll get stuck on the phone for hours. He probably feels the same way. But anyway, going back to your question, I was just doing stuff. You know, to me, it was like getting up and taking a shower. And everything else that's known about me or what people know about me, that was just all a side effect. There was never a plan.
So you have like you started an IT company. Are you an engineer by trade of some sort, or like what's your how's your brain function?
I just feel the majority of the world is. A fun little fact: the majority of the world isn't dumb. Anybody can be smart if they want to.
So that's so Cuban of you to say.
Yeah, I know, right? He says, I don't listen to him. I have no idea what he says.
No, I mean,
you're talking to a guy that knew nothing about e-bikes, nothing about batteries, nothing about lithium. And I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out, get a little help.
Right.
And just, you know, that's when I want to do something well, I do it really, really well.
I think there's a lot of people in our community that are like that, in a sense.
Who? Name somebody. I don't know anyone like that in our community.
Well, let me rephrase it then. They just get really into stuff. You know what I mean? Like they just fixate.
Well, I know one
hobby.
guy that really gets into stuff. His name is Kevin Dalton. You know.
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin. One of my favorite attributes about Kevin is he says he doesn't care, but he clearly cares too much. Kevin, we all need you to care
guy.
just a little bit less, Kevin.
He's such a sweet guy, right?
Yeah, he stops for everyone, helps the old ladies across the road. He's just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier, there was a couple that came from San Francisco. I think we talked about it on the last podcast. And he was so sweet to like help out the wife of the guy who just got carried away with riding fast in New York.
Yeah.
You know, like who else was going to like see her and be like, hey, just come ride with me. Yeah. You know, I'll take you to where we're going.
He is, man. He's honestly, Kevin, a lot of people don't realize he's important. And I tell it to people. He's important. You just got to understand him. It takes a little while. But, you know, on the other hand, too, it's kind of fun to see other people annoy him because he reacts to it. you know. So, but he's
My favorite is if you like dig deep into some asinine political debate, he'll dive in.
lit. He's lit.
He'll dive in.
Yeah, he will. He will. Yeah.
I'm probably a close second behind him.
No, you serious?
I have to tailor my.
You have to pump the brakes on your conversations on politics.
If someone's ridiculous, you know, if someone just is, I'm sort of a middle of the road kind of guy.
No.
I'm not like a heavy anyone direct.
I had a friend over last night. We were playing with his Onyx, adding some stuff to it, and I had my own political views. And he asked, you know, my girlfriend and me what we thought about the current environment of the presidential election. So she voiced a little bit of her opinion. So did I. And I kind of felt like I was being like educating, but then when he spoke, he just ran circles around us, and I just was like, turned to the girlfriend. I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard about, you know, general understanding about this presidential election." So it was great. It was great to hear that because I like to entertain other people's different perspectives.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a fault for me, I guess. I feel like personally I can always see someone else who thinks differently than me, like their perspective. I mean, I can clearly in my head go, I think you're crazy, but I can see why your mind goes in that direction. I can see where you're coming from.
It's a very powerful thing to master the ability to entertain anyone else's opinion, no matter how radical or different or opposing it is to yours, and it not really move you, not to the point where you don't feel like you want to react. If you can achieve that, that's a big part of how I succeed in life. You know, is being able to not see yourself in everything that everyone else is saying. You know, because it's their own thought, it's their own privilege when it comes down to it. But it's a really good, you know, learning tool.
I think two people just need something, you know. As we were saying, there are guys who really fixate on stuff in the community, which is kind of a good thing. Like a lot more people should have something like an Onyx bike, so they can dive into something that feels a little bit bigger than themselves in some way. You know, it's something that's just intriguing. And I've talked to a couple of friends over the years who are like wealthy individuals in New York, and one guy was like, "Hey, Mick, I see you're into this thing. Do you have a lot of hobbies?" I'm like, "No, I don't have a lot. No, it's kind of like this stuff." And he's like, I need to work on getting a hobby.
He's jealous. He's basically saying he's jealous.
No, I think he just like, I love the guy. He's like devoid of like, New York is like a huge workaholic town.
Right.
So he's like, what is this hobby thing? You know?
You know, I thought I was getting a bike. I didn't know I was adopting a whole community.
Bro.
Yeah. And so, you know, we have the dynasty and stuff like that, and that's a whole nother conversation actually. I think the same way you're into, you know, the EUC, it's kind of probably not too different how I'm into the bike, but it's a package deal if you want it to be, if you allow it to be.
I definitely think I'm one strong drink away from converting to an e-bike.
Oh no, don't convert. Get
an
e-bike.
I love the EUC, but I mean, like, I really want one. I just don't know that I have the space. I mean, I can keep it in my office for now.
Yeah.
I just can't bring it home. I can't commute home at night with it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. You can drink and drive on that, but you can't on the Uni. That's the difference. Actually, I don't even know if that's true. I could be wrong. Probably do both.
Don't do it on any of them.
Don't do it on any of it. But what was I going to say? That you know, getting the e-bike and then showing up and spending time with other people. Man, it's a lot. I think that's what keeps me in it too, is the side effect of I ride the bike, but I find myself riding with others. And it is fun. We have conversations. I mean, it's the very reason I'm here at this podcast, you know. I didn't keep to myself. And there's people that get their e-bikes and get their UCs and keep to themselves. But, you know, I think when you look at this community, it can be very difficult to get your hands on it, you know, or wrap your mind around it. You know, my advice has been to people, one, decide really quickly who you can take serious and who you can't. And that doesn't mean any disrespect towards the ones you don't. And then the second piece of advice I say is don't take things so serious so you miss out on the fun. And people that have practiced these tips I've given them, they're enjoying them more. And it's a wonderful community.
Yeah, I mean, so I've ridden around with some of the e-bike guys, and My favorite person to watch ride
Ooh.
is Julian.
Julian is, in his own category, the best of the best in the city for that.
So I told you a little bit off air about my e-bike crash. What do we call it? Embarrassing moment.
Yeah, just don't tell Julian about it. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But anyways, it was a silly like thing where it was like nighttime, and I slipped out and fishtail. It was a whole thing. Thankfully,
Right.
I was okay. The bike was okay. But now in the back of my head, I'm already like. So I watched him the other day, like just burn out, so to speak.
Right.
There was no burning happening because the e-bike just took off. The Onyx was killer, but he just like burns out and looks like Batman riding around the city. He's got his whole little get up and all that. Like, so I'm always like afraid. In my head, I have PTSD
Right.
about like fishtailing, and I'm like,
Right.
how is he not fishtailing with the way
It's
he peels
a lot
out?
heavier bike. It's 140 pounds.
Oh, true,
Yeah,
true,
it's
true.
heavier. But the day that I
Chris is
find
only
out,
like 70, I think.
yeah,
70 or 80.
there's a big difference in handling. But the day that I find out or hear through people that you get an e-bike, I'm gonna come find you and I'm gonna give you the full rundown on how to really operate the vehicle in different manners. Corners, wet roads.
Shout out to Onyx. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen.
That's true. Very true. Very, very true. It's weird. That bike out there, if you know how to do a sports bike for real, all of that science applies to that. It works on that, which caught me off guard. Taking corners, the weight, shifting the weight. Same, because I used to do motorcycles back in the day, and it's, holy shit, it works on this bike too. That's kind of weird because this is a smaller bike.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. All right, so I have a lot of like things I want to know about this.
Yeah.
All right, so first thing is let's come back to like the how to shift your weight and all that kind of stuff. But all right, so with the unicycle, they're measuring everything, the battery in watt hours.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not.
Uh,
Not. I mean, you
amp hours.
could.
You could.
You're using amp hours.
Yeah, we're using amp hours.
I don't know what the conversion of that is, or like how that
Basically
translates.
subtracting two numbers. So it's like taking 2300 becomes 23. You could think of it that way. You're
Okay.
just shaving off.
So I have 3200 watt hour battery in my Sherman.
You could say that's a 32 amp hour battery.
Roughly.
A 3200 amp hour watt hour battery, that's big. That's actually closer to 42 amp hours, the way it converts. There is a conversion.
If I ask Google to convert that, can she do it?
Yeah, but fascinating. Just to point this out, you have about roughly 42 amp hours in that Sherman. I have 23 on the Onyx.
Get out of town.
That's how much bigger your battery is in the Sherman.
Yeah, I think I heard Julian, some guy asked him the other night what his range was. And you can tell like Julian's a very unique rider and where he rides, how he
Right.
rides, and
Yeah.
he was kind of fumbling through answering, but I think he said like maybe 30 or 40 miles.
No,
Is that correct?
no. Julian was one of the first people in the city to have a custom-built battery by Lightspeed Bikes.
Right,
He's got
he has that now.
Yeah, he's got a 52 amp hour. It's massive. It could do 140 miles, if not more, range.
Really? Okay, yeah. I think he might have been talking about the
Yeah.
stock Onyx battery.
The stock, well,
I could have heard it wrong though.
Julian is one of the few people that I know that could take the stock battery and burn it out
It's
in 30
exhausted.
miles.
Yeah.
I get about 60, but he
Okay.
really wails on the bike.
So you haven't gone into the whole Lightspeed thing yourself. You've stuck with
I do. They're actually gifting me a battery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's coming. You
It's
just
coming. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just haven't been in a rush because I've done all the group rides with the stock battery, and so it's very different for me to see people's questions or their opinions about the bike because I really use it. Like I go to extremes with it. Kind of like the proving ground. So I'll see somebody will say, "Oh, I don't know about the range." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know how you're complaining, man. I do full group rides with this."
So what is your effective range?
I would say 60 miles.
Okay, and then I assume you've done tinkering to mess with your top speed. What's the
Right.
stock top speed of the Onyx?
The
Can we
stock-
legally say that?
Yeah, legally, absolutely. The stock is when you get an Onyx RCR, it's advertised at 60 miles an hour, but realistically, 60. You'll get
For an e-bike, that's impressive.
it
For
is.
anyone who does not know anything about them, that's impressive.
What's actually more impressive than the 60 is how fast they can get to the 60. That's that.
Wow,
The
yeah.
Onyx RCR is really a torque bike.
Sure.
It just pulls. It goes.
I rode your bike once on a very limited stretch right by the
probably
Williamsburg
eco
Bridge.
mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were like, how's it feel? Like, oh, it's torquey. And you're like, that's eco mode, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it goes. It really, really goes. But you know, for example, that bike's got switches. So to teach you something about e-bikes here, so the Onyx has eco, normal, sports. But what if you can replicate eco mode in sport mode? What if you can learn to twist the throttle and manage it because you understand how the motor, battery all work together?
That's genius.
So that's what I did.
So how do you do that?
Well, it's kind of I'm trying. This is the first time I've ever explained this to anybody like this. Really, you know, I've given you a gallon of water, right? And I say I need you to make this last for this many cups or this amount of time. So you're looking at it, you're pouring it, right? So we'll stop there, right? The throttle's the same way. If you really just pay a little more attention to any e-bike throttle, you can get more out of the bike. If I want to get 75 miles out of the Onyx, I'll get 75 miles. But my style, I get about 60. Julian style, 30. You know, that's a lot. That's half of what I do. But yeah, those mode switches are great because you don't have to think. But if you learn how to properly feather a throttle, you can get so much more out of it. It's kind of like when people...
Are you doing it off feel, or are you looking at your speedometer? Like,
on
how
feel.
are you...
Purely on feel. Purely on feel.
So what are you doing? What are you feeling for it to keep it?
Imagine you're in a car and you're running out of gas. So now you start feathering the gas pedal. You start being a little more conscious. That moment when your car is running out of gas...
Like, you're not hard braking, then hard accelerating.
But you just become more conscious of it. So when you become more conscious with these e-bike throttles, you can get really good ranges, or you can burn through the battery.
So are you, okay? It's just in my head, I'm coming from the EC realm. Are you being conscious about when and how much you torque it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
How fast you torque it, how fast you're accelerating.
So there's always moments where you're like, I don't need to torque it right here.
Right. I do a group ride. I know I've got like a dozen moments where I can torque this shit out of the bike.
Yeah.
Because I know that each torque is going to cost me 0.25 volts.
I was scared the other night, like last week or something, or a few days ago. I ride so much, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I actually got to fumes on the Sherman, which I don't know anyone out loud who said they've gone down as low as I did.
That takes a lot. That's a massive battery.
I basically didn't charge for like a week or something, and then I didn't realize I hadn't charged in that long, and I'm like riding home. I'm on my way out, coming back home to Brooklyn, and a few guys on unis were like, who's beeping? Because the beep didn't sound normal to us, and I didn't even recognize the beep pattern. And I was like, I don't know. And I went, it ain't me, bro. I'm on a Sherman. Said it out loud. And finally, one person was like determined to figure it out. We're riding, and they're like, Mick, it's you.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way. And we pull over at Houston, a stoplight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it is me. I was at like 77 volts.
But listen to what you just said. You went a number of days without charging. That's impressive.
Yeah.
You couldn't say that 4 years ago. By the way, I'm about to say something that I really think you should not edit out of the podcast. And that
I don't edit any of this.
I got to go pee. I don't want to wet your couch. I really
That's fine.
Where's the bathroom?
You go out the door, take a right. It's just like a communal in the hallway.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, that whiskey got me. It's good whiskey.
Let's see. How many minutes are we in? Let's see. 45. Yeah. It took 45 minutes before you had to pee that bad. If this was a podcast, if it was a live stream with our friend Duff down in Florida, this would be the moment where he would leave too, because often he like just dips out of his live streams. The funniest moment actually for him was when, was it near 4th of July or something? He was like, oh, I got to leave to go pee out of his podcast. And his wife decided to sit down. He said, hey, Cindy, sit down, Cindy, and, take over. And she was like, what? I don't talk to your fans and stuff. But she sat down. She was a good sport. Then all of a sudden it was very clear that Cindy was much better at hosting a live stream than Duff ever was. And this was a hilarious moment because the audience perked up. Like everybody who was watching live on YouTube was just like, into it. She was answering every question like in real time. A lot of times some of the uni guys that do like a live stream and stuff, it's kind of difficult to keep up with a guest and like a live thing and all that. she was in it. She was doing it, and then he came back, and then they were talking, and then I think she was high, potentially. It got wild. It was probably his most viewed podcast. It was crazy. I was dying laughing the whole time. I'm sitting there like my dad's in the other room, like, Dad, you got to come watch this. This is crazy. This, like, I've never seen this weird anomaly. Anyways, that won't be happening here. But I was reminded of that because he often just like leaves the screen during in the middle of a live stream. We're not even live, and I can't do that. But yeah, good story to tell. I think John is on his way back. I might pop my Red Bull here. Red Bull, if you want to sponsor this podcast, hit me up. I'm a big fan. We're so early where I'm just begging for sponsors.
Oh God! It's, you know, they'll actually, the day they do start sponsoring you, they'll actually reference that. You know, because some intern at Red Bull will be like, they made me listen to all your podcasts. It's gonna happen. You know, Mick won't take less than 6 figures.
That's probably very true.
Mm-hmm.
I have kids to feed.
So here's a fun little thing that would kind of maybe not surprise you about e-bikes. However you're treated on the EUC here in New York City, it's going to be the same thing with e-bikes. You know?
It's interesting you say that because I'm treated very well, but I have seen on 2 occasions Jerry Fung harassed by the cops.
I never heard of that.
I was there for them.
Tell me about it. I want to hear this.
So one of the times we were just south of Union Square by like 13th Street, right there on like usually like University or Broadway, one or the other. And we're parked. One of our friends was doing a delivery, and the cop was like on foot, walked by, and was like, "Hey man, where's your plates?" And
That's so odd.
yeah, and Jerry was like, "I don't need them." So he said something like that. He wasn't confrontational at all, but he said something to respond, and the cop just wouldn't let it go, and then he was just like, it kind of got weird, and he was kind of like just using strong language about threatening him about his bike being on the street and that kind of thing, and he eventually we were like, well, we got to go.
Wow. I'm going to give legal advice, not give legal advice, and this is something for everyone. So I did role playing with a cop friend of mine, and as an example, in the role playing, a simple, easy one, comes up to me and says, "Is that bike legal?" And the second I say anything, the second I say yes or no or something, or it's entrapment. People don't realize if a cop asks you, is that legal or not, the second you respond, you've entrapped yourself. So think Miranda rights. Anything you say can and will be used against you. So if a cop asks you, it's illegal, just say you don't know. I don't know. I don't know, you know? And realistically, even if you kind of know to a degree, that I highly doubt anybody sat down and reads the state bills and the entire. So realistically, even people that do know, they don't really know.
Yeah.
So it's just you're better off saying I don't know. And what Jerry should have done was, I don't know, and I'm sorry I didn't know that. And then he should have stood up off the bike and stood next to it, because that's what the cop really wants to see. He doesn't want your opinion. He doesn't want to hear what you want to think. He's got a job to do, and the more you don't get in the way of that, the better. And if you happen to get, as a matter of fact, I've been pulled over by Highway Patrol on the Onyx. I've been pulled over by a number of cops because they wanted to talk about the bike. They were fascinated. They thought it was awesome. I had one, and so here I am. We actually have a total of 8 NYPD officers that have their own Onyx RCRs that ride with us.
Killer.
Yeah, so a lot of people in the community don't know that we've been riding with the NYPD. And so here I am in Jersey with an NYPD officer and 3 other friends in their Onyx.
Right.
And a New Jersey cop in an unmarked car walks up to us and says, "Are those bikes or are they like mopeds or motorcycles?"
Fair question. They're a moped.
The answer is, I don't know, you know? And he then just tells us what he thinks, because he's like, "Oh, I've been following you for a quarter mile," which I knew that. I saw the unmarked car following us. And as a matter of fact, even the cop that was with us, then, you know, the New York cop, I actually had to tell him, don't say anything. Fun fact, not all cops like each other, you know? So Jerry might have just gotten that cop that a lot of other cops don't like. You know, the guy that just doesn't handle things well, doesn't, you know, a good cop is, even if a cop has justification to go after you, he could still get you on his side. You know, it's called good cop, bad cop. But if you get one that's really bad attitude, and listen, they have a really tough job. I've got law enforcement as customers at my IT company, so I've gone to Busch Gardens with sheriff's departments and stuff like that. I'm not defending them. You know, they're just people. I mean, how would you react if you're the cop and you see Jerry Fung on the bike, and you know this guy doesn't know shit about his own bike, and you're like, you know, where's your plate? And he gives you the wrong answers, you know? So Jerry, learn your lesson. Next time a cop stops you, step off your bike, stand next to it, and apologize for your own existence. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
So anyway, but what was the second time you got stopped?
Similar situation where the cops were just giving him crap about the bike.
He's such a great guy, though. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the color of his skin. I don't know. But it was like...
Now I'm going to have to make a joke about... I'm going to have to make a joke to balance that out. Jerry, you've got lovely skin. We all think you got wonderful skin.
He does. He is, like, perfect.
You clearly take care of yourself. We know you love to go to that spa up in Jersey that I pointed out recently. So
you're loving Jersey, huh?
Oh, dude, Jersey. I was your typical New Yorker that would shit talk New Jersey, and I finally gave it a chance. And I was like, the first thing I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, most people in New Jersey don't know how to Jersey. This is wonderful over here, especially for riding all the hills and the Palisades. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So funny you say that. This one of my things this year when I start back up my group rides is to do it a lot more with New Jersey. I've already reached out to people in Jersey, said, hey, will, you like become part of our community and let's do stuff together and count on each other and work together and cooperate. And they said, yeah.
There's a pretty big scooter population in Jersey as well that they come into the city and ride for big events.
Dude, the scooter guys are it's a team called ECS, and
yeah.
They are by far, funny enough, a lot of people shit talk them, but I know, in my solid opinion, they are the best team in all of the
I'm in their group chat, and I watch. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Huge. I want to get Clyde. Is that his name?
Clyde, yeah.
I want to get him in here. I want to talk to him.
Absolutely. ECS, and I've said it, ECS is the gold standard of groups.
They seem pretty chill.
Yeah,
I like them.
They're wonderful. They give a crap about each other. They look out for each other. As a matter of fact, I told them I modeled a lot of my stuff after them, which was really interesting because I was at World Trade Center earlier in the year, taking some pictures because I do photography as a hobby, and I turned around, it's 9 p.m. at night, and I see a bunch of, Dualtron scooters pull up to the stop signs or stoplight, and I was like, wow, these things are so bright, the colors, the lights, and they're so cool, and
they love RGB.
Right, they do. They love RGB, and so should we. Well, why don't we do this?
It's hated in the EUC community for some reason.
I don't know. Well, listen.
I get it.
It's okay to hate each other. It's not a problem.
No, I mean, like, EUC people, like, some of them hate the idea of RGB light vomit on their unicycles.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of RGB. Yeah, but fast forward, I had no idea that I'd be leading that. I had no idea that Clyde would be leading that. I had no idea how these things were all going to turn out. But for me, what got me interested in scooters was who is someone that can keep up with me on the Onyx. And so when I started hearing that the scooters can do 55, 60 miles an hour, I said, I want to ride with those guys.
Yeah, there's this interesting divide, not a bad divide, just between EUC is its own thing. Right. Because you guys kind of have some similarities, some parity in the sense that, as fast as you go, your biggest potential problem is loss of control in some degree when riding at a top speed, where a unicycle, we can cut out, right? So there's like a utter like devastation at the other side. If you push your Onyx to its limit,
it shuts off.
Right. You can... maybe you blow some, I don't know if you could tell me, but you don't fall to your face. You just coast off, right? It's like running out of gas in a car or a motorcycle. Like in our world, it's a little crazier.
But there's so much, I'm not an EUC rider. I've played with it, tried it, but it doesn't take a genius to understand why it works out like that. Here's something.
course.
You can lose your teeth on an EUC, and I will one day master the EUC, and I already know that it's going to be so awesome, so awesome, that it's like, this is worth losing your teeth over.
I think
'Cause
you should get a Sherman,
No, I know that the Sherman is...
especially with the seat scenario.
I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting. The reason I'm waiting is I want a better BMS. I want a better board. I want better gauge wiring. If I buy a Sherman, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually take it apart and upgrade all its wires.
I was saying, you do it yourself, because for what it's worth, for the EUC people listening,
Right.
Sherman's having a struggle right now because Gotway is
Why?
trying to mail them out of the community.
How are they going to do that?
Basically, okay, so
How's that even possible?
sorry, this is Onyx people listening. This is a little inside baseball, but basically, this guy named Shane Chen invented the electric unicycle.
Mm-hmm.
He's held the patent to this day, basically for that. And what he did a while back, and I'm sure there are nerds fixing my problems in this, but basically he would hustle people out of money who tried to create and sell an electric unicycle, because he's like, it's like having the patent to Velcro.
Okay.
So he would just like gain money and sue people when they would put out new products, and that's why basically there are none being made in America because of Shane Chen.
Does he still hold the patents?
So Gotway just bought the patents from him.
All of them.
It's one basically.
Oh, it's just one.
Yeah.
What is this one patent he's got?
It's just the self-sustaining one-wheel thing.
Self-balancing.
Yeah, it's the same thing
Oh,
from
wait
like
a
the
minute.
Segway.
Who's the guy that owns started Segway? What's his name?
Oh, I forget.
Okay, I
Isn't
thought
he dead?
it's not. He's not. No, he. That's not Shane, right?
No.
Okay, I never
don't
heard of
believe
this
so.
Shane guy. Shane, I've never heard of you, and you don't matter, by the way. But keep going. Anyway.
So somehow recently Gotway got the patent from Shane.
Okay.
I don't know what changed. None of us do. It's all in China.
Okay.
So Sherman behind closed doors, and I'm kind of in those back rooms just by nature of like the things that I've done. They basically told Sherman, like, you can have problems if you try to make another unicycle beyond the veteran, because we're going to use this patent against you.
But
financially?
What country is it out of?
They're all in China. So a lot of people have said to me, well, Mickey, which they could be completely right. That's kind of bullshit, because
the Sherman in Canada.
in China is, well, it's all Chinese people who started the company. They don't have to move to Canada. That's a bit of a stretch.
No, logistics. As a matter of fact, this company that makes the Suron, they're pretty good masters of logistics. So is Juiced, that e-bike company. Super 73 tried to, not really. It's a difficult game, but yeah, if you do the logistics game, if I were veteran, I would just do the logistics game.
Yeah, so basically, they're enemy number one of Gotway, because the former Gotway employees broke off and started the veteran company. Also, their typical name is Leaper Kim on paper.
Well, the problem is, what's wrong about what I said is, who in their right mind would want to lose China as a market? Veteran clearly doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, so basically they're muscling them and saying, like, somehow, I don't know how veiled the threat is or how serious it is, but basically, like, if you try to make another unicycle somewhat soon, like, it's going to financially hurt you.
People do that.
So Sherman told E-Wheels and other people, like, listen, it's going to be a while. You're going to be waiting.
Listen, I have a big business, and we get so many threats that I bought a law firm. There's a lot. We've pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a company motto in my company. It's called "You need us, we don't need you." But we're bad when it comes to competition. It's not fair for our competitors. So, lawyer it up. But I mean, we're not doing anything like bad. Just we don't play. Homie doesn't play that, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you waiting might be in vain, because they're feeling the stress of that. Who knows? It might be no big deal and they get through it or whatever.
How about I make the next, better uni and rub that in Gotway's face?
You should. I mean, that was the whole thing, is the veteran is better in almost every way than a Gotway, in the sense of, like, build quality, sustainable. You've seen Tarzan crash.
Listen, Gotway, if you're listening, if your own customers know this kind of rumor about you, this kind of ultimately reflects really bad on you.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that. Competition is good.
Yeah. I thought to myself when Veteran came out, let's see, does this perform well? Does it pass the test? And it has. you know, like YouTubers, if we buy something, it means we're into it.
Right.
I wanted that wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it passes the test. It's like, okay, so Gotway now has a problem because those employees who started that were like tired of the same old at the other and they were like, you're not doing anything better, and Gotway's still producing the same old bad
You would
QC,
think that it would raise the bar for them.
Nope,
No.
nothing.
That's crazy. That's not. I mean, look, their tactics are going to work to a degree, and look, I'll predict it now. There's going to be some stuff that are going to happen with EUCs. It's going to happen. You're going to see waves of things that no one expected. You're going to see an EUC built in the United States. It's at one. I predict one at least, because when people start to realize how awesome these are. And by the way, if you're a real Onyx rider, people that are real Onyx riders know about scooters, they know about boards, they know about EUCs. If you don't know what a Dualtron is or a Sherman, you need to up your Onyx game.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things we can learn from each other, interesting things. But, all right, so going back to it, the power situation, okay, it's a little bit different amp hours and watt hours. And so the voltage of your battery is interesting too, right? Because I have a 100-volt battery, and yours is lower, right? Like it's not 100, but I feel like your power, the whole setup, it just fascinates me. It's like your power on paper compared to mine is garbage. However, you can beat me in a race.
Right. So
it's like
when I, like going back to what I said earlier about going from zero to being the master of battery balancing, really BMS, I learned a lot of things about electricity. I knew I had to learn the fundamentals. And so electricity has a lot in common with music. And 72 volts is actually more efficient than 100. 72 is a sweet number. You can actually get a lot of tremendous power of 72. The reason EUCs that have 100 volts is because they oscillate more. They go back and forth a whole lot more, and it allows it to happen a little bit faster. When
you say oscillate, you mean with power draw?
No, we're talking an EUC on one wheel going like this.
Okay, you mean physically.
And it happens so fast that the person on it does not realize that it's done this 100 times in a second.
Right.
And so an EUC, every EUC should be 100 volts. That's what I think.
It's for safety reasons.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be. And so why would you do 100? I've got a friend building at 100-volt Onyx RCR. I got another friend building a 120-volt Onyx RCR.
Killer.
So now we're looking at 80 miles an hour. Now we're looking at 100 miles an hour. Totally unnecessary. The fastest I've gone is 82 miles an hour on the Onyx RCR.
It's necessary in the sense that that person who builds that, I hope that they get press. Because then it'll...
Oh, I'll make sure they do. I've already told them I'm going to make sure that happens for them.
Right, you see the implications on the whole motorcycle community because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm sure there are motorcycles that can do, like, massive numbers in miles per hour. But,
well, it's like
but that's crazy to think. It's a bike.
It's like the people that work for me. They are amazing and talented, and I train them so well they can leave me, but treat them so good that they stay. Part of my job is telling the rest of the world how awesome they are. Hey, listen, go focus on what you do best. I trust you. I'm going to share power with you. But I'll do the PR stuff. I'll, do that, and I'll communicate and make things happen. And so I think that's part of the value that I bring to this whole community is the things that we all do are really freaking awesome. They really, truly are. And it never gets old.
Yeah.
I got excited about the Sherman, and I'm not even a UC writer, and it's just more people just talking about it.
The weirdest part about that is the build quality includes a roll bar.
I know,
which is
that was pretty dope when I saw
right?
that. Yeah, that was dope.
But here's the weirdest part: you get the same old school like Uber nerds who bought this and uglify the hell out of this wheel by just putting a bajillion things all over it, and you're just like, there's one guy, I feel like he's on the West Coast somewhere, LA or Vegas or somewhere, and it is the ugliest unicycle I have ever seen in my entire life. I'll maybe I can bring it up on this podcast in the edit or something, but it's so bad.
In terms of like Uber nerds, I don't know if it's a really... I mean, you can't be an Uber nerd and going on a single wheel going 50 miles an hour. That's a whole different.
I think it's like Tony Stark, right? Like I think
I think every UFC rider is a Tony Stark.
There's a level of like you have to be a nerd
Yeah.
to understand it, and then there are some who are like super like
right.
Maybe nerd is actually a better term. With that vomit fest that happens with the Sherman is more just like bad taste, I guess.
I mean, then what would we call like people that ride an Onyx like that?
Normies.
Because it's got 2 wheels and it's safe. Oh man, I don't know. I'll give that a thought. I don't have an answer for that one right now.
Yeah, we'll let the community decide.
We'll decide. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Luckily, they haven't uglified the bike yet, so.
I think it's pretty. If you love the moped style,
right,
that's the bike for you. Now, like my buddy Chris, like we're tight. He hates it aesthetically.
You know, this makes me think of one of my favorite people. That's not one of your so favorite people, Tim Seward.
Oh, God.
The guy who started Onyx, designed the Onyx. You know, Tim has a reputation. There are people in San Francisco that will not buy the Onyx because he designed it and made it. And so Jerry Fung gifted me a Onyx Facebook page that he started. And one of the very first things I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Jerry one day was like, hey, John, do you want this Onyx page? And I was like, thanks, Jerry. If you guys don't know, Jerry's actually a very awesome person. He just takes a little getting used to know, get to know kind of thing. He doesn't just let anybody in easily. But if Jerry looks at you like he doesn't like you, then he means that he doesn't like you. But it's okay. It's okay. Just keep trying. But anyway, I go and tell Onyx, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Maybe this could be a Facebook page where we can curse. So your company, you behave like a company over here with your official page, and we'll just do all sorts of not nice things on this other one. And they totally supportive. Well, and the second thing I did is I went to Tim Stewart and I said, dude, I have a Facebook page where you're not going to get kicked out of. You could be at liberty to say all this shit that you say.
By the way, is Tim missing a leg?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah. He's incredibly misunderstood. He's a very caring, wonderful, awesome individual. The best way to understand Tim is he's like a skater. Like, you look at skater culture, they're dicks, But he's a good guy. He really is, and I appreciate his product. As a matter of fact, I talked to him before I came over here, And I said, I'm going to go on a podcast. I'm going to talk about your shitty product called the Onyx.
Yeah. Well, he sold out to Bird, didn't he?
No, see, Onyx was never really supposed to be what it is.
Come on, let us troll.
No. I'll help you troll better. What had happened, and he loves telling his story, and he's like an old person at this point where he's told his story to me so many times that if he were to screw up any detail, I would have picked up on it, and he hasn't. And so, started Onyx, Indiegogo, didn't realize it was going to take off, but see, he already he wanted to be John Ivey. You know how John Ivey is to Apple? Mm-hmm. Tim Stewart wanted to be the John Ivey of electric vehicles, in terms of like mobility vehicles. No, we're not talking Tesla here. Mm-hmm. And that position is being the lead designer at Bird, $2 billion scooter company. So Tim started Onyx to prove a point of how awesome his abilities are. Point taken. So Bird did come a knocking, and they were like, we want to give you one of the best positions out there in this industry. And he's like, holy shit, my dreams came true. But then Bird told him, you either shut down Onyx or you sell it. And that's how Onyx ended up in James's hands. And James is very lucky because if I had known Tim at that time, it would be in my hands. Because I want Onyx, for me.
I think, yeah. What's up with that? I thought you were going to...
James, if you're listening, listen, I will offer you $80 million for Onyx right now. Cash, all in singles. Okay? Just bring a truck, a couple of trucks to carry the money.
I'm just going to stand behind the truck when the wind blows. Just hope a few that goes my way. You can go start your own e-bike company, but the culture, the community, the bike, you can't buy that. It's hard.
Dude, they nailed it. Onyx has no.
Do you think it was on purpose or it just happened?
Dude, and Onyx is 50% purpose, 50% accident, and it just happened. It's like a bunch of people. Okay, this is not Onyx. I'll just give a metaphoric example. A bunch of people that think they can't get along together. People do get along at Onyx, and somehow they end up with something wonderful. That's Onyx. It's ironic. It really is. And so Onyx does not understand how good they have it. The company does not understand how good they have it.
Mm.
They're starting to realize, but they got something so great that I would pay top dollar for it. You know.
We heard it first here.
Yeah, I know. So if it happens, I'm moving the headquarters here to New York. You know, as a matter of fact, the Brooklyn Aviators would be a good spot for a garage.
It'd be a killer spot.
That'd be a killer spot. Look at the parking lots out here.
The only issue is the whole like Fort Knox situation to get in, but
that's not a bad thing.
You can kind of get around that.
Okay, so you got to climb a fence to earn your way in. Fine. You know,
yeah.
Get past the
basically guard. Anybody you don't want coming in won't be coming in.
I know. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But in terms of you wanting an e-bike, dude, it's a hell of a lot of fun.
I'm into it, and I like the concept of being able to tinker. Like you see, you can't do anything. There's no tinkering. Look, I'm sure there's some guy out there. I think
with a solder gun.
Archie probably is one of the few people that tinkers. He's in like Massachusetts, but on the whole, there's not.
Yeah,
it's just like there's a few. It's a pretty simplistic device, which makes it astounding, for what it is. But there's not a lot of that.
No, there's nothing proprietary in the Onyx. There's no. It's off-the-shelf parts. I had 7 friends that I advised them strongly just to buy an Onyx because they wanted a bike like that. And they, with their egos, were like, we're going to make our own Onyx. And I'm like, trust me, don't do it. And so this is what I told them. The definition of a company is just a bunch of people hanging out, doing something together. There's nothing really company but a company. Well, there is. I'm not going to get into it. And so I'm like, you're just paying somebody to do that for you, and they get all the parts discounted anyway. So let them make you the bike. All 7 of those people failed. Not a single person made something even close to an Onyx. Half of them sold. 2 tried to race me, got smoked. Bad, like really bad. And one of them out of those 7 finally caved in and ordered. I was like, this was over a year ago. You could have had an Onyx by now. You know.
Yeah, and then you can tweak your own Onyx.
Think about it this way: I can have anything I want. What am I riding? An Onyx. You know, which community am I investing in personally? You know, whatever. Onyx.
Yeah, not the Sur-Ron, huh?
No, it's it's. I tried entertaining relationships with a number of other e-bike companies, and there was just nobody as cool as the people at Onyx. I mean, they're just great.
Would Onyx ever, we were talking a little bit about Sur-Ron on the way in, would they, I don't know what the term is, but license it so like someone else could sell it? Because you only buy direct from them, right?
No, they're open to that. You know, they wanted to sell me hundreds of Onyxes, and I have a friend that
they would do a wholesale thing with you, and then
I have billionaire friends that want to distribute the Onyx globally. You know? Going back to the Sur-Ron's never going to compete against Onyx. I want to learn the story.
It's different though. I wouldn't expect it.
It's smart, and I'm going to tell you why Sur-Ron is smart. Most of the world isn't paved, so it's a dirt bike.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
My brother-in-law is a big moto guy, and he's been following all my crazy antics and stuff. And he sent me a link the other day, and he was like, yo, what is this thing? It was the Sur-Ron. I'm like, oh yeah, this is Sur-Ron. It's been around, you know. Like, and he was like, I think I should get this. I'm like, you totally should.
No,
he lives in Oregon, and he's like, I could take this in the trails around my house, and the old people won't yell at me because it's dead silent.
It's dead silent, yeah. And it's it's one of the there is no such thing as comparing an Onyx to a Sur-Ron or a Sur-Ron to an Onyx.
Pit bike versus a moped situation.
You just stare at it. People have asked me to compare the two. I'm like, are you blind?
It's
just
apples
look
and
at
oranges.
it. Yeah. And they're both best of breed, and that's it.
Right.
Honestly, the Alvin, Bose, I'm sure he's going to hear this. Udis, what's up? These are the 2 new Onyx ambassadors. So the whole ambassador thing, that's just like a reference towards, like, oh, John's the ambassador. Like, we never had a formal talk. But by virtue, I'm, I guess, the Onyx ambassador out here on the East Coast. I recently named Alvin Bose and Udis Espinillo as the 2 other. So these guys can work on the Onyx and it not like void the warranty, and they have the full support of the company. And I mean, still introducing that relationship, and there's still a number of other people that can do this also that want to do this.
Right.
So it's setting a good example. But Alvin, bring him up. I told him once, I said, the pinnacle is having an Onyx and a Surron. And that's what he did.
Right? Because then you have two best of like the two worlds that exist.
He loves it. He just spent this last week screwing with both bikes, you know, so.
So you guys, all right, so the power is a little bit different. The whole thing is sort of like a symphony, I guess you might say, is sort of how they designed like the control board and everything to sort of utilize those 72 volts. And you also have the ability to go to like someone like Lightspeed to have a custom battery built. And I guess so they're just experts at that. So there's no tweaking. Once you buy that thing from Lightspeed, you just plug it in, so to speak, right?
You have so many options. I mean, I think now we're getting into the time where we can start to show customers what you could do with an RCR. Just starting to.
There's so much customization. I mean, it's
so much.
It's a little mind-boggling.
It's insane.
And I kind of joked with you, I think, once, and I was like, how come you guys aren't customizing your bikes? And you were like, Mickey, we do all the time.
We do all the time. You just can't see it.
You can't see it. Externally, you all look like you're all the blondes at the party.
Right.
You know?
But everybody wants that hot blonde, you know?
Maybe. Not me.
Maybe she's really
I mean,
good.
I want an Onyx, but I don't want a blonde girl.
But yeah, no, it's whew, God, it's really, this is a hot topic because the plethora of things in my head right now, because talk to Riley, talk to a number of guys, talk to Dustin, talk to, holy cow, the things, you know, Justin E, all these guys, just the things they're doing with the bike, it's awesome.
Do I have to know a lot of junk about?
If you get an Onyx, you're gonna, you know, be included, be a part of, be involved in a whole different world you didn't realize. Like yeah. I put the time and effort in to build this secret, awesome community, and it's working.
Side question, do you lock, like if you go out to eat and you're riding your Onyx?
I hope somebody steals it.
Do you lock it up?
I like punching people. I hope they go for it.
But I mean, do you just leave it like a motorcycle does, or do you lock it up somehow?
If I go out to eat, no, I could just park it in front of the place and set the alarm. It comes with an alarm standard.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop someone, does it?
They'd have to roll up in a van or a truck and two people lift it into the back and they'll steal it. Good for them. They got it. Great. I buy another one. Problem solved. But
because that's, as a uni rider, like you don't have to worry about that. I'm afraid of having something that I can't just bring into the bar with me.
It's a great question, but a lot of places surprisingly will let you take an Onyx inside. They're cool with it. They already think it's so pretty and neat looking, and they don't know what to think of it, and they're fascinated. And many times I'm like, "Hey, can I bring the Onyx in?" They're like, "Yeah." So it's another.
What places in New York have space for that?
A lot of them. You'd be surprised.
Really?
You'd be surprised. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I've gone to like, you know, those like tourist, I love New York shops. Like I'll want to eat soup dumplings at this place, and I'll go to the dollar place next door and be like, "Hey, can I put my bike in the back?" And yeah. So if I can't put it in this place, I'll just ask.
Do you pay them, or you just ask them?
No. And when I'm done eating and I come back, they're like, every single time they're like, "Yo, we've been staring at this bike the whole time you were gone. We got so many questions, you know." So I'm at the point where I need index cards. Like, "Hey, look, just read this," you know. So no, it's really your question. The best answer to your question is it's really who you choose to be as a person at that moment. If you want to be really awesome to the people around you, everybody will let you keep your Onyx at their place, you know. Fits in elevators, you can stick in the back of shops, you could chain it up in the front, you can, you know, keep an eye out the window. It's never been a problem. I think the real problem with a bike like the Onyx RCR is, do you have space at home?
Yeah.
That's the real one.
Mine's a definite no at home.
Yeah.
You would have to come here.
Yeah, then that's fine, you know. So you got the Uni.
Yeah.
And whenever you want to ride the Onyx, it's here.
It's just one of those, like if I was out hanging out with you guys or whatever, I just have 2 steps to get home. It's like I have to come back here first and then hop my Uni.
It's worth it. You do it. If I left that bike here with you a week with you, you wouldn't give it back.
Yeah. I do want to do a video review on one at some point.
I'm actually gonna make the first real beyond a review video of any one e-bike. I know for a fact not one single magazine or website has done a real proper real review. Mm-hmm. I think knowing what I know about the bike and the company and the actual support and how they choose to deal with things, how they want things done, and how I want things done, just makes me really dangerous in terms of like going to do like a legit walkthrough of the bike, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But a review, yeah, if you ever want to do a review, I'll drop one off with you and do a nice review and say some shitty things about it.
I'm sure I have nothing but too much fanboy praise.
Oh, dude, yeah, but you know, like I said, you don't get an Onyx and forget about the Sherman. I mean, if anything, the Onyx emphasizes the Sherman more, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot
Dude,
of...
I have multiple vehicles.
So if you were going to convince somebody who rides an electric unicycle or an e-board in a city type environment, well, let's just stick with New Yorkers, and you want to convert them, the real running joke in New York City is the e-boarder community has like a 80% conversion rate to uni.
Yes, true.
Right? So, but let's just, I know what you're about to say, but let's pretend you wanted to convince someone to, maybe not convert, but to invest, to buy one. What would you say to somebody who rides a unicycle or a board to get them to buy into adding that to their collection?
How does it feel like to lose to me all the time? That's all I'd have to say.
But what if there's someone who's not into speed, or, you know, because not everyone, I am, but not everyone is into that.
God, so many things I can say. Somebody that's not into speed. Actually, this is a great question because it really sells itself. I've never had to sell an Onyx, ever. Never had to convince anyone. It's nice.
So if someone's on Spotify listening, who hasn't seen one ever.
I think, everyone that gets an Onyx, they go through this phase where, you know, that first week or month where they're like, holy shit. So no matter what they learn, no matter what they were told, it will never measure what they personally experience with an Onyx RCR. When you first get an RCR, it is 10 times better than you could have been told or imagined or convinced or somebody else convinced you of. You trust me, no one knows Onyx unless they have one. Once you have one, it's like, okay, I should have done this 10 years ago, or like I should have not spent a month researching it. So I love the fact that I didn't know shit about the bike. I just saw Jerry's and I was like, it doesn't take a genius to know that's awesome. And boom, boom, boom. Literally, I looked at the size of the motor. I lifted up the back of his bike. I'm like, that's heavy. That's a whole lot of magnets, and that's 72 volts. That's all I need to understand. But yeah, you know, you put me in a good spot with this question because I've never had to sell one. People, when they ask me to compare an Onyx RCR, I tell them, don't do that. Don't you dare do that. You can't do that, you know, because you're putting me in a financial situation. If finances aren't a problem, you can buy all these things you want, you know, and find out for yourself. And if it's not for you, give it to your friend as a gift or sell it back or something, you know. So if you took money out of the equation, which is an incredibly limiting factor with, say, a Sur-Ron or an Onyx, and you could just have whatever you want, you're going to think very different. You're going to act very different. You're going to approach this very different. You know, when people have to consider their money, and look, there's no way around that. That's just how it is for most of us. You're just going to, you're going to have to justify it, you know? So I said earlier, if you can entertain other people's perspectives, that's great, but you can also entertain your own perspectives. We love watching TV, movies, but we're watching people pretend. So we should be good at pretending. So pretend money's not an issue. And you want an Onyx, go get it. Trust me, you won't turn back.
So it's like just about the feel when you're on it, like the rush of just all that power at your disposal.
People like a challenge, and this bike is the challenge in the EV community. It is a challenge. If you want to stick in an eco mode and be safe, go for it. But you want to go and get good at making turns without slipping the rear end. If you want to,
that scares me.
No, you would no. That the funny thing is, I've seen you. You're so good on that uni, on any uni I've seen you on. You will be that, if not better, on a bike like a Sur-Ron or an Onyx. It's just, you and I haven't sat down and I haven't said, hey, Mick, lean forward at this point into the turn. Don't put any weight on your elbows at this part. And when you do this, grab with your thigh, not your hands. You know, so we haven't had that conversation. A 3-minute conversation with me on how to properly operate an Onyx from normal to extreme conditions, or because I will tell you how to ride an Onyx, like an insane person, and I'll tell you how to ride it like a normal person, because I know you're going to make those decisions because I made them myself too. So yeah, I've driven that bike in ways where I should have been thrown in jail, clearly, but that's most of us. Most of us are going to push what we have, but it's different, man. When you got one, it's different. I've tried a lot of other V bikes. When people want to compare, I've elevated to that level where it's like, trust me, do not compare. Do not compare.
So the Onyx is like very specifically a city street bike. I'm sure you can take it elsewhere.
I could do some off-road. You can get it with a dirt kit and all that kind of stuff.
But when I imagine it, am I wrong in thinking like if you live in the suburbs or the city and you want to like just have a rocking good time on asphalt, this is where it's at.
This is exactly where it's at.
So I would probably tell somebody if you're looking like my brother-in-law, he wants to go off-road.
Onyx Motorbikes, Onyx the company will tell you themselves, our bike, you can take it on trails and you can go dirt if you want, but we're not going to fool you. You really want a dirt, go get a Surron. You want to do street, you get an Onyx. And this is New York City, so we got street.
Right, which is very amazing and yet unforgiving all at the same time. Mm-hmm. So the design is very unique and probably the one factor that I think as an outsider that makes the Onyx sort of really stand out. Mm-hmm. Under the hood, it's hard to see until you see someone perform on it, I guess.
Right. Like Julian.
Yeah.
You've gotten the pleasure of seeing Julian ride the bike.
I think I want to have him on. I think I'm a little too obsessed with Julian at this point.
You should have him on.
He's such a character.
He's an awesome character.
He seems very sweet. Like a very nice guy.
There's a lot of really awesome things about Julian people don't know that I dare not mention, but they're just amazing stuff. He's an amazing individual.
He also seems, and maybe I'll save this for when I talk to him, but very, and it intrigues me, very obsessed with order.
That's his line of work, though. That's what he specializes in. His work is order.
I think there's like 7 times he's like, yo, Mickey, what's the route we're going on this? And I'm always like, the route? What do you mean, the route? Yeah. We're just riding around Manhattan, bro. It's just it's 13-mile stretch. What do you want? What you trying to do?
Exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
No, what route are we taking? We should have a walkie-talkie and a route. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
You know what that actually is? It's he's actually inspired by all of us. Julian, he watches. He knows we're on walkies. He knows that we organize. He knows like we help each other out. We're awesome with each other, and it's really where it comes from Julian, and he's becoming more and more a part of that,
Yeah. All right. Well, you successfully obfuscated my question about selling the Onyx, I feel like, but
you want me to sell you an Onyx? I'll sell you an Onyx.
Give me the lowdown. Like again, if there's somebody else in America,
so I'm going to help
nothing,
you convince yourself. This is.
I'm convinced.
Okay.
I'm thinking of some guy in like I have people who listen in Hawaii who are like who's never seen this in person.
Okay, I am the perfect example why you get an Onyx. There's a reason that company gifted me a bike. If you see the portion of my life, so I have my entire big life. But that one slice that involves this bike.
So big.
Very big. I need a lot of help.
Tremendous.
Very big. If you look at the portion, which is literally on my IG, just go watch my IGs and you'll see so many people around me, so much engagement, so much involvement, helping each other out, especially my stories. It's having friends over. They help me, I help them, we exchange, we gift. We have fun, we laugh, we get to know each other. It can be a bike or it can be a super awesome bike that everyone around you. So kind of like the Sherman. When the Sherman came out, that was a nice gift to the entire UC community as a whole. Like, here's this thing with better wiring and shit's not a rat's nest, and and it moves and it's more powerful.
Stand up to a crash.
It can take one hell of a crash too, kind of a thing. So Onyx RCR, beautiful. Just powerful, manageable bike that you can enjoy it as is, from the day it gets delivered, and never do anything to it, and have a great time in eco, normal, or sports mode. Take it on trails, or you can tweak it with it a little bit. You can get help. You can get support. You can super tweak it, change its voltage, do whatever you want to do. So it's that option. You know, the Onyx RCR is a bike that if you owned it for 3 years, for example, the first year, for example, let's say you did nothing. And then your friend taps you on the shoulder by the second year and says, hey, why don't you do what John Angel did to his? You go do it and you find, oh, holy crap, look at these benefits. It's reborn. A year later, it's revitalized because you decided to pop the panel off or dial into the controller. You know, so it's just got a lot to give. It's a fun bike that you can leave it as is and it's super awesome, or you can get into the intricate details and it's
right. So like
fun.
with bikes, they're you know, even with just like regular bicycles, I guess, you can customize almost every piece of that, right? So you get like handlebars, and you guys are adding, this is a little more, I guess, external, but like you're adding LED lights and turn signals, and you're wiring that in, and that's interesting. But also like, yeah, just like just down to like,
but it's your
the
own
pedals, right? Like every piece of that puzzle basically is customizable. And then you've got, you know, not to go back to him, well, let's go with Jerry Fung. He's got those like sort of like leather saddle
Jerry
bags.
Loves to do a lot of shit to his bike.
And it's like unique to him, and he's into that leather saddlebag thing. And then Julian has his. What is with the?
Have you ever complimented Jerry? Okay, I'm not asking you directly. If anyone, and I'm sure other people have listening now, if you've ever complimented Jerry Fung on anything that he's done for his bike, he super appreciates that. You could see that in him. He's like, if you notice that detail or say something about that he put the time and effort into the RCR, Jerry definitely uses the RCR as a form of expression for himself to some degree.
You should, I feel like. I feel that way about the unicycle in some degree.
Yeah, exactly. And then what you just described about Jerry and yourself is the same thing for the RCR, you know? And so...
somewhat moldable, I guess.
I literally avoid trying to express myself with the RCR. Like Sal Gunzi, which makes the best seats for the RCR, he offered one for free in the beginning. I didn't take him up on that offer. And it was the second time because it's something I helped him with. He insisted that I take the offer. And it's beautiful. It's here. We can both look at it. It's a wonderful seat. And I've just never been that kind of person to express that way. But come on, it's stupid. I should have clearly gotten that seat before. I should have taken up that offer. Hell, I should have paid for it because it's worth every penny.
I'm about to pay for it.
The lighting, that wasn't my idea. That was Don. Don put the lighting on his bike first.
Yeah.
I'm copying Don. I'm copying another guy in LA. You know, for me, I've told people since the beginning, I said, Tim did a good job the first time around. I love it stock. I don't want to change my bike.
I was gonna say yours feels pretty close to stock.
I want to keep it at stock.
Minus the little tweaks you've done.
Yeah, little things like turn signals so I can be safer.
The light, and then you've got your own
cars to be
seat.
better at night, you know, and everything on that bike, lighting wise, is just so I can drive a little bit crazier. Just landing lights on a plane, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
You know. Yeah. But so convincing. See, the thing is, you're already convinced about the RCR.
I just want people to understand like what it is. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it in person.
It's a weird bike. So what I thought when I first saw the RCR, I said, "Wow, this is messed up. This should be illegal. This should not be allowed. How is this even possible? Holy cow, I want one." That's literally my first train of thought when I laid my eyes on the RCR. And I thought I was going to get a bike that was a little bit faster, more powerful than a Super 73. No, this thing can race Lamborghinis. You know, it pulls up to 30, 45, 50 miles an hour like it's nothing. This bike will kick you off. You have no choice but to learn to become a technical, more of a technical rider if you really want to have fun with it.
So this isn't like a cruiser. This is like
it can be. It can be a cruiser.
Okay.
Because I said to you.
So if someone's a Super 7 like you, a Super 73, they're looking at that and say they've got the money thing is not a big deal. Looking at Super 73 or something like it, and then they're looking at the Onyx.
Well, the money thing is interesting because the Onyx is only a couple $100 more than a Super 73.
False.
That's where it's weird. That's where it gets weird.
How much is Super 73?
Well, the Super 73 is already over $3,000.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I swear it was under 2.
No, it's over. Pull it up on your phone right now. It's over $3,000.
That's
so that's where it gets weird. Here's this 70-pound bike.
That really, I'm sorry, but then Super 73 is trash.
I'm not gonna say that because I'm part of the e-bike community.
They seem like it's like the cheap parts that'll rust out on you.
You can get the shittiest bike and show up with it, and I'll still support you. So,
No,
yes, I can.
You shouldn't.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna make you feel bad. Whatever you get, and plus, I recently named the Super 73 ambassadors and the Juice ambassadors. And so these people are trusting me, and they're seeing that it works. I don't want to be right. You can show me. As a matter of fact, you could take lead and show all of us what's right. I don't care. Let's just get it done. Let's get beyond the bullshit, and let's enjoy this community. Let's enjoy our vehicles.
Yeah.
If you're happy in a Super 73, that's $3,000+. That's good enough for me, because my decisions are my own. My bike is my own. My shit has nothing to do with yours.
The Onyx definitely, I think, caters. I mean, you could tell me better, but to like a more big boy crowd, like a little bit more.
It feels like that, right?
Like they've. This is.
Can I get more whiskey, by the way?
Of course.
This whiskey turned out to be super awesome.
It's good,
by the
right?
way.
Yeah. The crowd seems to be a little bit more like they thought before they purchased.
Okay, let me go on a tangent. The biggest mistake everyone makes with any kind of e-bike is they tend to go through a process where they convince themselves. If you stop and look at any e-bike you get, and look, it could be the same thing with an EUC and a scooter and a board. Biggest mistake is we convince ourselves. All of this stuff has been out here long enough that there are people that have already owned this stuff before us that clearly know what they're doing, right? So stop convincing yourself and use the free resources that you have around you. We're not talking Google. Talk to people. Go see somebody on a Sur-Ron. Go see somebody on an Onyx. Go ride with them. You got a Super 73 and you're thinking about an Onyx? Go ride with an Onyx rider, because there's nothing I've pushed in the Onyx community. We stand on our own, and we don't need to shit talk anyone. We don't need to. There's no threat. We're Onyx. There's no threat. There's literally no threat. I had a friend that made his own 12,000 watt bike, and he had a little bit of an ego, and he wanted to race me, and he was just like, "Oh, my bike's 12,000 watts. I'm gonna beat you." His bike caught fire when he raced me. No. Okay, Onyx. There's so many things that this company tells me, so many little details. And look, I have an IT company. By virtue of having an IT company, I have to hold secrets. I know what people have on their computers and servers and networks. There's a lot I know about the Onyx RCR that I will never share with anyone. That's just between me and the people that choose to share it at the company. I can have anything I want. I can go buy a $200,000 motorcycle if I want tomorrow. I'm riding an Onyx RCR.
That's an interesting dichotomy there.
So think of it this way. I'm in New York City. It fits an elevator. It doesn't smell like gas. It'll take a Porsche off the line. I get to ride with my friends. It's not awkward. And if I want to go full RGB, I could do it.
You did it right there. Folks, we finally got him to sell it. That's what I was looking for.
There you go. I'm a terrible.
There it is.
Yeah, I could sell.
Because I'm always like thinking on this topic. Like, my brother-in-law is a very tough cookie. I love him. Rick, shout out to you. He is a big moto guy. He has his own repair. Had his own repair shop in Brooklyn for years. Right. Moved back to Oregon, and he's doing his thing out there. He's just as in it in that community, in the moto community, that you are in this community. But like, I'm like, how would I describe? How could I convince him that he come see the light? You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, it's you're like, oh John, okay, you sell me the Onyx, and now you're saying this thing like, oh, how do I tell this?
I don't actually want to convince him, but I'm just thinking, there's always hard. Like a critic in your head. You're thinking of when I'm trying to like give a speech or something. Like, who could I say it well to?
Yeah, it's really.
But I think what you said
actually
nails it. That's probably what I would tell Rick.
Yeah, you could, but he
would never give up his bikes. You know what I mean? I think it'd be cool.
What does he ride?
Well, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
He's got a bunch because he has a repair shop too. So he also has.
I've gone to motorcycle gatherings where it's like 100 gas motorcycles, sports bikes that can run circles around the Onyx RCR. They love it. It's so weird.
I'm saying I think he would be into it. That's what I'm saying. I think I was like, what could I say to him to make him perk up to listen, to then consider adding it to his collection.
Have him sit on it. Just sit on it. Once you sit on the Onyx, you're screwed. You're getting it. There's no way around it. When people get gripped by the Onyx RCR, it's like the Death Star in the tractor beam. See, this is why I don't have to sell it, and I even have a discount code. Which
For
is
what it's worth,
John
I'm not actually trying to get you to sell it. I just wanted you to like depict what you are really loving about it as someone who's big in the community.
Oh, I was,
you know what I mean?
I was
like,
the most ignorant, didn't know shit. Dude, I was your typical.
This is not an
e-bike
ad
customer.
for Onyx.
No, I was a typical. The epitome of the typical e-bike customer. You know, this generation of e-bikes. I didn't know shit.
Sure.
I said I saw Jerry's bike, went home, ordered it 2 hours later, barely researched it. I didn't even care that it said 60. I literally bought the Onyx RCR for just the way it looked.
It seems like, yeah, it appeals to the,
It's gorgeous.
you know, somewhat, I don't know, men above the age of 30. So that's not quite middle age yet, but men above 30 who kind of need a little excitement, a little power in their life.
Well, if you want to be like me, though, I'm going to say some other stuff. So here I am. I own the bike, taking pictures, telling people about it, answering questions, enjoying it. I never intended on doing anything I've been doing. And I genuinely appreciate the relationship that I have with Onyx. But it kind of really freaked me out in a really good way when I realized that Onyx Motorbikes was the only e-bike company that actually rode their own product. It was the only e-bike company that screwed with their own product. James, he has literally broken himself messing with his bikes. He owns the company. He could burn through all the Onyx. He's like a legit rider. As a matter of fact, James is the person I want to race. I will not tell Onyx Motorbikes how I got to 82 miles an hour because I am going to go race my friend, the company, and beat them. Put it that way. And they want to know. So you go to Onyx, and it's a moped shop in San Francisco and in LA. They're not this bougie shop. These are straight jacked mechanics with like hard gear and everything, and they're into it and they love it. And I think everything I love about this, the people that work at Onyx, that are Onyx, I think we have that in common. But they're real. They're the only e-bike company that was like, they actually beat on their own bikes. Dude, they send me videos and pictures of the shit they do to the bikes that customers are not even clued into what they're doing behind the scenes.
This is exciting and sad all at the same time.
You should get an Onyx.
For me,
that's what that means.
I want one so
bad.
I just can't
really get one.
I don't think I can find the money for it right
We'll
now.
raise the money. We'll start that GoFundMe account and stuff. Money cannot be a barrier.
Help me find a sponsor for the podcast.
Look, they're going to be around for a long time, man.
No, but that's exciting and sad because just comparing it back to the EUC thing, like none. I mean this. None of the manufacturers of electric unicycles ride in such a way that you just described on their things. We can tell because we get on it and we're the people. They have said out loud, InMotion, who is not known as the biggest.
I'm going to show you a picture that nobody on this podcast knows of and is not aware of. And we're not going to describe this picture.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you a picture that's going to define how Onyx is. Like, they are Onyx. So let me just see if I can find it. If not, I'm going to have to change the subject.
And I was going to say that InMotion has said to me privately that their newer wheel collection coming out is completely inspired by the way we ride in New York. Because the company owners and manufacturers and anybody there, they don't ride.
By the way,
not real riders.
Just to let you know, globally, we are the #1 community of electric vehicles. We are. I've done the math. I've done the homework. I have an IT company. I can find out whatever I want. Sweden may have like these 300 people group rides up and down hills, whatever. Still not the same thing. In terms of New York is the best at relationships. #1, our relationships amongst each other are the best in the world.
I think it's like New Yorkers are sort of like a tough cookie to crack, or
We're supposed to
whatever the stupid phrase is. It's like on the outside it's tough to get in, but once you're in, you're kind of in forever.
Kinda, yeah. You can get out if you want.
Yeah.
There's no leaving.
Just when I think I'm out.
Oh man, I might not be able to find this picture. Is that
the new iPhone, by the way?
No, not yet. The girlfriend, she just ordered girlfriend Loyal, she just ordered the new iPhone herself.
Is that the 11?
Where
10?
is this? Okay, I'm gonna have to show you this picture afterwards.
Okay.
But this picture, you got to see this. When I show you this picture of Onyx, you're like, okay, yeah, Gotway doesn't have that. No one has that.
We know
no
they
one
don't.
has
It's
that.
not even a question.
Yeah, I don't even have to see here. I'm trying to sell you when I shouldn't sell you. But yeah, it's super. They're weird like that, man. They're weird how heavy they are into their own product. They ride it, enjoy it. So it's kind of like it's. Yeah, I bought this from them, but it's kind of nice to see that they're equally as diseased as I am.
It's not exactly the same thing, but it just reminds me of what we talked about with Kevin, which is, again, off the beaten path here, but I know people who work at Disney World making peanuts who, after they get off work at Disney, go back into the park to like ride Splash Mountain. Like,
exactly. It's like that's them. That's them. You get on Onyx RCR, and I will help you build a relationship with them where you really want to talk to them. You can really talk to them. It's possible. This booze is really good, by the way. People should drink more often.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I didn't make it at all, but it was a gift.
Have we figured out how to say the name of this stuff?
Oh, I think we did, didn't we? Oh, we kind of, it was before I started the podcast. There's definitely all that. Maybe I'll throw that interesting stuff at the end.
That should be your sponsor right there.
Yeah. Opidian? Opidian? I don't know.
Smoke C.
It says Oppidan, so let us know in the comments how to pronounce this. Smoke and C. Smoke plus C.
Well, listen, I got something interesting to tell you. I've said this many times to Onyx, and I've said this many times to a lot of people. I would really appreciate it if Onyx did not come out with a new bike. I personally, if I bought this company, I wouldn't change the Onyx RCR for like a good 10 years, period.
That's a weird thing to say.
I know, right? Everybody says come out with a new... All the other e-bike companies try to come out with a new bike, but this one is so good. And it just really struck something. Multiple things. Put it this way. Let's talk business. Let's talk real money here. Mm-hmm. If you were to own Onyx Motorbikes and you did not change that bike for the next 15 years, you'll be equally successful. You'll be just fine.
It's hard to fathom, considering like we can look at other companies in various fields who clearly didn't adopt with the times, and it hit them, and they didn't adapt and create something new, and it became known as stale.
You happen to be sitting down with a guy that actually knows this kind of stuff really well. Really, really
I'm just pointing out that
that's another
it's a strong statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm ready to back up my strong statement. I'm like, I really actually know what I'm talking about.
This might be the first podcast people don't like, because it feels like you're selling me a little too hard now.
No, I'm just saying, I'm bringing that up because it is normal that you come out with a new uni, a new scooter, a new something every year. But this thing is weird. This bike is weird. There's something really retro, 70s, 80s, especially 80s. There's something... They actually have updated the Onyx. They have the version 1, and the latest is version 1.5. And 1.5 is the perfect Onyx RCR. So anybody who's ordered an Onyx RCR in the last 2 months...
It's a control board you can switch in or something to that nature?
Anything you want to. You can do whatever
I mean, like, if you bought an Onyx 1, you don't have to buy a whole new bike.
That's
a
cool thing. See, that company has actually had a lot of, meetings and conversations. They've talked about proprietary stuff. They've talked, should we give customers access to the BMS of the battery or the controller? And Onyx has decided, you know what? You give us money for this bike to put it together for you. It is your bike. Do whatever you want to it. So they haven't locked anything.
Yeah, I heard from someone, maybe you could talk a little bit about this, that you have like an app into your BMS. And you can look at the cells and everything. Tell me about that.
Dude, it's super awesome. It's the first e-bike company that has a battery that, you open up an app, it tells you all the stuff that the uni stuff tells you.
Which is not a lot, but yes.
Okay, imagine more, twice as much, like details, watts, amp hours, meters, graphs, percentages. You can configure it. You can change individual groups of cells. You can sell.
That's where uni stops. I can see a lot of that stuff, but I can't change it.
Uni is 1, 2, 3. Onyx is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can change it all. That's how much power that company puts into the customers, and it's weird. It's been a real weird exercise as an experiment. Onyx customers can really screw with their stuff and change everything.
Right.
No one's killed themselves.
Yeah, it's
None of the fears that were possible came true.
it harkens back to like a different time, we'll call it pre-Apple, right? Where like people made good products, and then there were those who twisted it, tinkered with it, did their whole thing with it.
Yeah.
Then there was there's a whole industry of repair for like electronics, right?
Yeah.
What did they call it? Was it called Radio City, downtown
Mick,
Manhattan?
I gotta say something. You actually give good podcast.
Thank you.
You should have a T-shirt that says "I give good podcast."
What do you mean by that?
That should be your slogan. I give good podcast. I've listened to a lot of podcasts, even though I'm a guest. Whatever. This is actually a really awesome podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen. Everyone, agree with me. Tell Mick. His slogan should be "I give good."
That's
podcast.
so close to like a sexual reference.
I know. That's
I can't get around that.
That's the point. It's memorable, and you don't forget it, and it's awkward. It's real, but you want to go tell your friends. You're like, "Yo, this guy's slogan is this."
Oh, God. It's so bad.
It's so shameful, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's so memorable. That's the point.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying there was like a whole, in New York we have a lot of these like little like strips, like the Diamond District, and
Right.
maybe you can help me out here. What was it called? The area where it was like the Repair Central, like a few blocks long.
God,
was it called Radio City? Is that what they called it? I forget what the heck it was called.
Yeah, it was. That was interesting.
It was like a whole block. It was way before my time.
Here's like Android.
80s, I guess.
You can change things on the Android.
Yeah, yeah.
Apple wouldn't let you change anything. Apple didn't want the customer not to change things because of the customer. Apple is, if we're up to Apple,
they're just in their own head. Right? Like Steve Jobs was like, "I make
No.
perfect things, so why would I give you the opportunity to change it?"
It wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. I've been in this game long enough to know the actual answers. Apple locked everything.
So cocky of him to say.
Dude, I used to
So
work at
condescending.
Microsoft. I used to work at Accenture. I used to work. My first job was research and development at IBM. I had a job that normally was tendered by people twice my age. Do you know how weird it is to be in your early 20s and boss around people twice your age? It's weird. It's weird. You better have a lot of self-certainty about yourself to tell people twice your age that have the PhDs, that have the masters and stuff, the better education to listen to you.
Yeah.
I was an FSU graduate working research and development.
Which means you just got a party school degree.
Nope. My father's friend got me a job I should have never been able to get. That's how it started. Yeah. So, like I said, life is unfair, but that's a good thing because you got to work it to your advantage.
I feel that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm in like a great spot right now. I feel like I've had better spots. There's seasons of your life, but I feel like if life was completely fair, a lot of people would be a little mad.
It's a relative term. If you really want to succeed, okay. There's a lot of little secrets. If you really want to get stupid rich, you have to sit down and have some serious conversations with yourself. Some very, and then you have to attain or learn the ability to make certain commitments and points in your life that you will see them through. That's if you want to do that. Look, $1 million will change your life. 10 won't. 20 million won't. 1 million will. It's really weird. $1 million will change your life. But anyway, so going back to what we were saying, what were we talking about?
We'll come back to your net worth later. Well, I just I think I forget, but I finished off talking about it seems like I like the open sourceness of the Onyx situation because it reminds me of a bygone era where we weren't so. It's like look, everything now is like, I know we said Apple, but like like software programs that a lot of us have used in the film industry stuff is now like subscription based, which it's the same thing as proprietary, but it's like another way to screw me out of like money where I could, in the old days, if you bought a program, you could use it till you died.
They were never that smart. All these people, Apple, that's kind of the problem. You could take a lot of it. Okay, fun fact. Apple never made anything really proprietary because of the customer. It was always because of the competition. Apple's ecosystem is locked because of competitors.
That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
So.
Apple wouldn't have a problem allowing the customers to change widgets and things like that. It was the competition.
Because the competition always let them.
There's a
Well,
lot.
I'm just talking about, I guess,
a,
more recent
you know,
stuff. But
I have shitty competitors. I have good competitors and I have shitty ones. There's a lot of decisions I had to make. So if I were Apple, I would lock everything down proprietary because of my competitors. And two, everything that the competitor says that they do awesome, I would counter that by simply not saying anything. Because there'd be no perceived threat. It's a very powerful concept. I'm not going to get into it. It's very extensive. But Steve wasn't like, oh, I make the best. He just knew competition was the issue. So if you look at Android, is Android as big as Apple? No. Samsung by itself in Android is still not as big as Apple. Plus, Samsung has a whole lot of lineup of other products that makes... If you were to make Samsung a phone-only company, it'd be like 100th the size of Apple. Let's do that real math. So Android, open, not so proprietary, not so locked, it's great. It's great. It's a great thing, and I would make the same decision. But it fucks you over competitive-wise, or if somebody wants to plant viruses or shit. Onyx had these kind of conversations, like, should we lock the controller? Should we lock the battery? Should we make things proprietary? Should we get pens? Should we whatever? No, there's a really cool thing. I remember, this is before I got to know Onyx as a company. I said to my girlfriend, if this company went out of business, I could still maintain this bike myself. I could still get the parts myself. I could still do things.
sure, yeah, that's interesting. That's something that I couldn't do if
Right.
Gotway or whoever went out
Yeah,
of business.
so Onyx Motorbikes is a weird as fuck company that's super awesome. It's just weird shit, but it's super awesome.
So if there's someone looking to buy an e-bike, whether it's a Super 3, Onyx, or whatever,
If you don't want to lose to me, you get an Onyx. Save your ego.
dropping
Save your
Onyx for a
ego.
second, what are 3 things you would tell someone who is considering purchasing any e-bike?
Get a bike that you can cruise on comfortably.
Okay.
Get a bike where you can have your moments where you misbehave, and get a bike that can go far.
Okay.
Those are the 3 things.
And then what are 3 things you would tell somebody who now owns an e-bike to help them sort of like grow as an experienced rider, to have more fun, to like have a well-rounded experience?
Learn how to take corners. I kid you not. Any motorcycle e-bike behaves so imagine it just rained and the roads are wet. Any e-bike or motorcycle, when it goes straight, when it has to brake in a straight line, you'll have 90% of your braking. So braking in wet roads straight is actually really safe. But the second you turn 5, 10, 12 degrees, 20 degrees, it's disastrous, it's dangerous, you can get hurt. So turning on a wet road and braking or having to react to something is very different than braking in a straight line. So I would want to be able to educate those people or talk to them and say, this is how let's just skip on learning how to ride bikes. Let's just look at what the MotoGP guys are doing. Let's go for the best. Guys on tracks, on turns. If we look, so listen, the way I became one of the best, if not the best Onyx rider was watching intensely MotoGP stuff, you know? So you sit there and watch YouTube. Mick's got a wonderful YouTube, by the way. You should watch it. He's actually the best at EUC. Sorry, Hey Sung and other guys, but Mick's the best.
Sung makes YouTube on EUC?
There's a lot of other guys that make YouTubes. Okay, fun fact, in the entire community of New York City, Mick has the best YouTube. Sorry, everybody else that has to hear this. It's just the truth. It's just the truth.
I don't agree yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there.
Let's keep it that way, because maybe that ignorance of yours is what makes you the best. But the point is, learn, if you get any kind of e-bike, trust me, learn about how to operate. Watch videos on YouTube of how to safely operate a motorcycle. It's relative. It doesn't matter if you're on a Super 73 or an Onyx. It will help you. See, guys that go fast and get hurt, they all say one thing to me. They say, damn, John, I got hurt. Maybe I got to be safe. I got to be careful. I say, no. I need you to continue to drive crazy. I need you to continue to drive irresponsibly. I don't need you to get safer. I need you to get more technical. So You are who you are. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. It's what drives you. It's what you like. It's what you're into. Fuck safety. Get technical. And a technical rider is better than a safe rider. Always will be. So watch MotoGP, because that is the creme de la creme of anything on two wheels. How do they do Isle of Man? How do they do these tracks? You do that. That sounds pretty sexy. You know, but
Speaking of motorcycles,
become a technical rider. Like, you know, it's like learning about your own battery.
so flyover, like what is something someone can do to become a more technical rider on a e-bike?
I'm
That's probably a longer conversation, but like quick.
Wait, say the question one more time.
What are some things someone might do to become a more technical rider on an e-bike?
A lot of things. I would say do things that most people don't do. Go in a parking lot and do weird things. Turn in a circle. Go do a radius, do a circle in a parking lot that's 60 feet across, right? So you're going 60 feet in diameter in a circle. And as you're doing that circle, brake differently. Brake different methods. A combination of front and back or together or one, just to get a feel how the bike reacts. Does it feel like it's going to slip? Does it going to feel like it's got more of a grip? You can do that because that's the kind of shit I do. But then you can save a lot of time by going and typing MotoGP on YouTube, and there's surprisingly some really, really good videos that I use that I've referenced on my own blog about how to be a better technical rider. So don't be as irresponsible and crazy as you want. Become more technical. You know, the whole world wants to tell you to be safe. Fuck that. Safe is what's going to get you hurt. Become technical. If I have a EUC or an e-bike approaching me as I'm crossing the intersection, please, I hope that rider that I am questioning in that last split second is a technical, not a safe rider. Because that's what saves lives. That's what saves your own life. That's what makes you operate it better. Because you don't even have to be driving crazy. Look, the majority of the world that dies in car accidents, they're not driving crazy. They're driving normal. But they lack technical skill. You know? Most mobile deaths occur when people drive responsible.
I'm thinking about now. The other day we were riding around with Turbo, and
He's good.
I don't know that he's the most technical rider. How do I say this nicely without sounding like I'm saying something wrong here? He's a very talented rider.
Yeah.
One of the best in New York. He won the Broadway Bomb.
Right.
But I don't think of him as like a technical rider like the Law, who I had on the podcast. But he does do technical things maybe he doesn't realize he's doing. Like, so there was a pothole.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly my definition of him. He is not aware what he's doing, but he does it. He is those things and doesn't even kind of like why your podcasts and your YouTubes are the best, but you don't realize it. You're blind to it. That's Turbo. Turbo has surprised me multiple times. He's taken lead on me multiple times. If there is one legitimate rider I would race, it'd be him. He's just weirdly obsessed with being in the front, and he puts himself there every single time.
Yeah. So we were riding, and there was a pothole.
I wish I could say the same about Kevin. Kevin's gotten faster though. Kevin's gotten a lot faster.
Kevin has his own lane. You know what I mean? Like he sticks to
Kevin. Has
to
his own
Kevin.
lane? Kevin, really?
Yeah, like his lane might be just zombie riding or whatever you want to call it. But
you called it. You got it right.
He's in his own lane,
okay.
and it works for him. He's cool with it.
He's good with it. He's really good at it.
So there was a pothole that exists on 6th Street or 7th Street or something, right by HQ, and I've seen it a million times. I know it's there. So if I'm coming up to it, I have a spidey sense that goes off that says you're gonna want to juke in a second, right?
Right.
The other day, I'm like, okay, here it comes. We're getting ready to juke, and I see Turbo just pop over it. He just jumps. Pretty big pothole too. And I was like, I didn't know you could jump. And he was like, oh yeah, just do it.
Dude, you're kind of letting the cat out of the bag tonight. You're letting the whole community know that Turbo is the best of the best. Better than BT, better than a lot of other guys.
That's probably fair to say.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to all of your egos and feelings out there. But I've actually known this for some time, that Turbo is the best of the best. All I have to look is who is in front of my front tire. And consistently, whenever I'm out, it's always been Turbo. And I've actually secretly raced Turbo because, chance. It doesn't stand a chance against me.
No.
It's turbo. Turbo is...
I mean, if Jansen lost to me.
Yeah, if I was putting money down, it'd be turbo every time. No, but listen, we got to... Here's the thing. When people don't do something, that's a problem. If people... It's like this community. Like, you take this community, everybody's trying to... You'll see that people try to make some money in this community. You know, so remember my rules. Don't take shit serious or you miss out on the fun. Decide really quickly who you're going to take serious or not, right? And again, everybody will have a great time with you. They'll enjoy their time around you, even though you have those legit rules. I will never fuck with money when it comes to this community. It just doesn't happen because, one, my asking price is too high, you know? So it's cute to see people try to make some serious money in this community. It's not going to happen. The only way anyone's going to succeed in this community making money is either making a podcast or YouTube. Wink, wink. Get it? Okay. I'm not even whiskey. No, it's not even the whiskey. That's the legit truth. So anyway, what I was going to say is that you have a lot of people that are trying to kind of make a little bit of money, and then that's only the real divide in this community, is when people come in conflict with money. But the community
I think there's some, at least on my side, there's a lot of ego in the EUC.
Where? Who? Name somebody. The whole
like the swath of ego is dripping in New York EUC community. You can have your own judgments about it, but it's there.
What if the EUC community required just a little more finesse, a little more personal investment, and you would see a drastic different result?
I'm trying it with Polo.
You know, that's a crazy thing. The EUC community is the most divided community in all of New York City, and it's fucked up because it is, surprisingly, one of the best communities. They just don't realize that about themselves. I even called you on the phone and said, hey, Mick, I want to go to work on the EUC community this winter because it's that awesome and nobody's aware of that. And so the EUC community, how do you succeed in it? One, take money out of the equation. No one.
We've seen some big riffs for sure on that front.
Absolutely. And take it from a guy that's really good at money. You know, I could say a lot about that. But my point is, it's the UC community just needs a little bit of different finessing to be the superstar that it already is. That does not realize.
I find myself often.
You're talking to an Onyx guy that actually knows about EUCs.
Yeah.
What the hell does that say about that?
Well, I mean, if we're honest, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out an EUC.
Are you kidding? Really? Because I could take your Sherman apart and put it back together.
That's what I just said that.
That's how awesome that is.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It's a pretty simplistic device.
Well, that's relative to you. Are you kidding? I take that out into the street, and 95% of anybody wouldn't be able to work on that.
Yeah, but I just mean like in general, it's a pretty simplistic device. Right. There's a few components.
Now you're talking some straight shit. In the whole of the community, over 3,000 people, who could really take a Potter Sherman and put it back together? I can think of 10 people at best.
I don't know that I could put it back together personally. I'd have to do it a few times, then I'd have it.
Sorry, I have high levels of expectation. Like I want it taken apart and put back together to perfection. 10 people I could think of.
I take all my wheels apart and service them when they need to be serviced.
Then I guess you're one of the 10 people.
But I don't know that I could rebuild it from scratch.
You've serviced your own wheels.
Yeah, I don't.
That's impressive in itself.
It's like, first of all, the logistics of it are like I work with e-wheels, so I don't have to like.
Yeah, but I just
pay for a repair.
That clearly, you're one of the 10 people.
Yeah, but I'm saying I could get a free repair if I needed it. But generally speaking, I'm just like, Jason, send me the parts, I'll do it.
So apparently you're as Onyx to the EUC community as I am to Onyx. You got relationships. You understand the product. You can take it apart. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know? But listen, the thing is with this, it's a very large community. There's so many personalities, so many different... You know, when it comes to egos, I learned a long time ago okay, egos are predictable. Let's look past that because I needed to get things done and accomplished. I needed advantages over my competitors that they couldn't see past.
Sure.
And one of them was their feelings about themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So, in other words, that's pretty impressive whether you realize it or not that you can service your own wheel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually, I guess you're probably right because I'm always amazed when somebody...
So, listen, guys, if you need your wheel service, Mick is $200 an hour to service your wheel.
Try $7.
Okay, $700. Damn, you're pricey, man.
I'm just trying to price myself out of work.
Damn, you're like, this just reminds me of that movie called the Girlfriend Experience or something. Like these high price hookers. I forgot what it's called.
Wait, you mean the one with Tom Cruise?
No. It was one with this porn star. What's her name? Sasha something. It was a New York movie, and she's like a super $2,000 an hour call girl. The Girlfriend Experience. That's what it was called.
Oh, okay.
You should watch that movie. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's a great way to learn how to make a lot of money.
But I was gonna say I'm actually amazed when people say things like, and good luck.
What?
Good luck to VT and his company and all, but like, oh, my tire popped. I need to pay a company $100 to $150 to replace the inner tube, and I'm like, what?
95% of customers that get e-bikes don't know shit about e-bikes.
I'm like, so I guess to your point, maybe I am a little more in the know than I thought, because I'm like, why would you spend that much money?
95% of so if 95% of e-bike customers don't know shit about e-bikes, I'm pretty sure it's probably the exact same thing for UCs.
Potentially.
Yeah. You got, the thing is, if you don't have the natural inclination to like take your, I was one of those kids that took his stereo apart.
See, I wasn't. That's the interesting part.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Maybe it's issues with my father.
That
or
is
something.
the most.
Because he was that guy, and anything he wanted to do, I didn't want to do.
Well, then that counts. That's the same thing I'm saying. That counts. It's you're okay. Whatever. It's the same room, but you came in through a different door. Same shit. You still arrived at the same place.
Like, he's huge into sports. I couldn't care less.
There's
a lot of things.
I love playing sports, but I never really like watching them.
Like the idea, like to me, the joke of a room is when people are sitting down to watch a football game, and they're so heated they're yelling at a television set. Like, to me, I'm like,
you would be that person in politics, not sports.
No.
No? What would you get heated about? Well, I shouldn't be asking you questions. This is your podcast, not mine.
You can ask away, man. I don't know that it would be, if I'm
What's
watching.
Besides a relationship, what's the last thing you got heated about? Does your wife listen to this podcast?
Doubtful.
What's her name?
Unknown.
Okay, we're gonna pretend your wife's name is Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Maria, if you're not listening to this podcast, you should listen to it.
Look, I'm a very, I think of myself in general, a pretty laid back person.
That's actually not weird that your wife doesn't know your shit, doesn't listen to your podcast. That's actually normal.
I know.
Super normal.
Yeah.
She's probably better off not listening to it.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I make them long enough. How could she? Right? Sorry, Francisco. We've bypassed the hour mark. What are we at here? Oh, we're at 2:14.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I made a suggestion that when we hit 30 minutes, that as a joke towards you, he should be like, we've hit the Francisco 30-minute mark.
Right. It's kind of like the Miami Dolphins touchdown. You ever been to a Dolphins game?
Yeah, this is halftime.
No, but every touchdown they go, that's another Miami Dolphins. Well,
right.
First down. It's for a first down.
Yeah, we were supposed to troll him.
I always laugh. I'm like, you guys are so bad as a football team that you have to, we got a first down.
Exactly. I think it's been a great podcast. I wish I could have told you more, but the problem is you're just going to have to demo an Onyx. The bike sells itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I brought you on because I'm fascinated with e-bikes, and I know you're very knowledgeable. So Onyx, irrespective of Onyx itself,
okay.
I think
you
have a lot
it's
to
not the bike
give
that
us.
got to sell. It's not the bike. And see, this is something that attracted. I'm going to tell you something that attracted Onyx Motorbikes themselves. Okay, so it's all like I call it the elusive obvious. It's in front of you. You don't see it. New York City, us as a community, was so intensely attractive that it attracted Onyx. Like, Onyx Motorbikes, the company, has nothing but an amazing amount of support and conversation and dialogue, and gives a shit, and they are curious. They are fans of us. Onyx Motorbikes stalks the shit out of New York City because we are that awesome. They love us. So it's kind of weird. We should be interested in their bikes, but it's like Onyx, the company, thinks we're so cool. Onyx knows about EUCs. They know about the boards. They know about the scooters. Their Onyx Motorbikes is a big fan of New York City. Mm-hmm. And we happen to be riding their product, and they happen to be super awesome about it,
That's good to know.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they be fans of us?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when Mick here rode my Onyx for the first time, I had my GoPro Max recording, and Mick was riding my Onyx, and he was saying all these funny, cool things, and I sent that very same video to James at Onyx and says, "Hey, look at this shit that Mick is saying while he's riding my Onyx."
Such a lot.
No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I can.
You can be able to prove it.
No,
one day.
I really can. I mean, okay, I owe you 2 videos. So everybody and everybody here is a witness. I owe him something that is so Onyx that it is why Onyx is Onyx. So I owe him that picture, and then I owe
Can
him.
I put these at the end so people can see it?
Absolutely. Once I send them to you, and then I owe the video evidence because I know where I can get it from. It's not on my phone. Of Mick on my Onyx saying some really cool, interesting stuff, and I was like, "Yo, look what this guy had to say about the bike." This was in the
So
early
secretive.
stages of me getting to know Onyx.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm surprised Mick doesn't have an Onyx already.
it's because of the way my bank account is set up.
Look, you sell those screens, you sell this lighting. You
Yeah,
sell
then
that
how would I
TV,
get work?
You sell that fancy camera. Look, you
That
sell
camera
that,
is
you
not
sell that
enough.
wheel out there. There's, and I'm looking where I'm sitting, and there's like 20
I
Onyxes.
do think if I sold my V11, I'd be halfway to an Onyx. How much is an Onyx?
You can finance them, by the way. They have it's called Klarna.
I don't believe in financing.
No, it's pretty. It's zero. It's like legit 0%.
I know, but
financing.
I'm just like I got everything you see here in my company. I bought
listen, Mick,
outright.
you're talking to the guy. Everything I own is outright.
I'm just telling you my mantra.
Listen,
I have enough
I
student
tell
loan debt
people
that
to
anything extra is too much for me to
literally
handle.
advise people to gamble with other people's money. I advise people to go to the bank and get loans. But ironically, everything I own is cashed out.
Mhm.
You know, kind of a thing.
I figured it out, by the way.
What?
What would trigger me?
What is it?
I don't like it when facts are incorrect, and specifically if it sounds like I'm being made to sound like I spewed the facts incorrectly. So I think it has a lot to do with.
That sounds like the Trump campaign.
I've
What do you describe? Give me an example. You can't just say.
yeah.
that. Give me an
Well,
example.
let me give the quick little. I've done a lot of introspection on this. Is like a character flaw that I'm trying to fix.
This. Oh wait. You think that this is a flaw about you?
Mm-hmm.
You might be wrong, but let's hear it.
So I think it stems from like as a kid, I think I was very intelligent and specific about certain topics, not everything, but certain specific topics. And I feel like as a young person, like maybe rightfully so, nobody wanted to give me sort of like the respect of the things that I kind of amassed or knew on certain topics. And so I was always treated as like just like this dumbass on things that I knew without a shadow of a doubt. Like, no, I really know what I'm talking about. And I didn't have like, I want to help people and give them information. And people are like, what do you fucking know?
So I'm
You
actually
know?
a high school dropout. So
So I think that's where it came from.
I saw this movie called Peggy Sue Got Married when I was really young. Funny enough, that was one of the that movie was a very important part of my life. So my actual real life, here I see this dipshit movie, and I had what's called my first elusive obvious moment. It was the beginning of elusive obvious. And this movie, Peggy Sue Got Married, actually nailed the very first quarter of everyone's life in a movie. And this movie says the shit we're going to learn in school, we're probably never going to practice, which just came out to be true, the majority of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, then what's the point of what we're doing? It's like, it's how we practice it, how we master it, how we... See, it's fucked up. The teachers don't even tell you. It's not the fucking math you're learning. It's how you practice it. Your ability to be resourceful, your ability to communicate, to open dialogue, to challenge, to not accept, to work cooperative. They don't tell you that. If they have that as a plaque in every school you go to, like, here's what's fucking actually expected of you, that would help out. Even Elon Musk got this wrong. And he's got his own school for his kid.
How dare you shame him?
Hey, listen, Elon is a huge fan of me, and I'm sure he would love to have this conversation with me. But I also know how stupid intelligence can be. See, I'm the person that is equally certain and confident of my stupidity as I am my intelligence. I go through life knowing that I am open to everything good and bad that happens to me. So when the bad things happen, I'm not caught off guard. That's something that's very, very helpful. Because the less time you spend tripped up, messed up, or distracted by stuff in your life, the more you get to really be yourself. You know? The frame of reference is you, not the world. People are guessing your reality.
I think I definitely can see a progression of getting better at that in my personal life for sure, like over the years.
But I'm so confused. What is this thing, this character flaw of yours?
So like, I'm trying to think of an example of when it comes up. Like it's more subtle than it sounds, but like
if Kevin, by the way, I just beat your podcast.
Do we
like 20 minutes.
Through it? I think it's like right. So if somebody's, I'm sort of inventing this as an example right now, but you can see how it applies. But so if somebody said, "Oh yeah, like Mickey's podcast," he said, like Onyx was overpriced or something like that, and I was like,
"That's the truth."
And well, if I had actually said, "Man, maybe in the podcast I said, actually, I like Onyx. I just feel like it's just a little too much for me." Then
what's wrong with that?
No, I'm trying to point out an example here. So I don't actually believe this. I'm just throwing this out there. Mm-hmm. So if someone later said, "Yeah, Mickey definitely said that Onyx is overpriced. Look what he's doing. He's going around telling everybody Onyx is overpriced." That would trigger me so hard. I'd be like, I didn't actually say it like that.
Oh, and somebody else skews the truth. Okay.
So that triggers me.
I have your solved. Your shit.
I just have to just sit and stew.
Your shit. No. Your shit is no. You are actually are. That's an opportunity for fun. You're fucking it up. So okay, remember this phrase that I said: "Don't take shit too seriously and miss out on the fun." Think of it like this: someone knows something, or people know something, anything about you, and what if those people turned on you? They took that intimate thing that they know about you, and they think they can use it over against you. So I had somebody like about 2 months ago said to me, and it's so weird, so out of place. And on top, this was left fucking field, so incredibly unrelative to me that it was the most absurd someone said to me in months. They said, "John, I know you really care about your reputation." And I was like, no. My fucking reputation serves me. I don't serve it. I will drop what I have in 2 seconds. Okay? But apparently that's your issue. So if you want to have it, we can do this. I don't give a fuck about my reputation. It works for me. I don't work for it. And that made them shut the fuck up. And so that made me, immediately I knew that was an individual that I cannot take serious. See, and I hadn't arrived at that conclusion.
I think it's probably true that a lot of people throw on to others what is their thing.
Yeah, it's projection. But it's like, listen, I get along with everybody. I've been poor as fuck. I'm an immigrant, all that stuff. But that makes me dangerous. That makes me the most dangerous guy in the room because I don't care. I don't need. I don't want. I can choose when to care. Mm-hmm. I can choose when to need. I can choose when to want. So it's how can you be a guy that doesn't need and want and be able to get along with others and cooperate with others and give a shit about what other people give about and your own? It's not hard. It honestly really isn't hard. Probably the easiest thing is to know we all accept happiness and good things to happen to us. Use your imagination and imagine being equally accepting of bad things. Imagine having the kind of confidence and certainty that you go on a stage and say, "I'm really confident about my stupidity as I am my intelligence." You nix every Achilles heel you've got. Everything about you, more than likely, the things you think you need to change about you are just things you actually misunderstand about you. So you say, "I don't like when somebody takes something factual and rewords something factual that I say, and it doesn't sound."
Or it's not even just me; it's other. Just slight twisting of truth always bugs me.
Okay, so you said that, and I say to you, troll them. Have fun with it.
I always correct people.
No, but
because of that.
But instead of it making you feel not cool, smile and be like, "This is amusing to me." And so, when I go on the internet, the biggest problem with the internet is there's clearly too many people taking shit too serious.
That's so true. And I think there are times when I try to, I'm even growing myself to try not to take things serious. Like, for example, the other day, somebody posted something on Facebook that's mildly irrelevant to anything. Yeah. But it was something about a guy posted a poll about like his gender and his blah 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 was represented in blah blah blah, and that's like, to me, I'm just being like facetious and like joking. I wrote, and he's like a black guy who's gay, and I wrote, my gender and my nationality are not represented in this poll. It's bogus. And his I would fucking around, because it's like, clearly it doesn't apply to me. I thought it was,
Right.
maybe I have bad humor, but he was like, well, Mickey, it's not all about you. And I was like, bro, it's just, never mind. I was just pointing out that
and, you know,
it's a bit irrelevant.
See, so if somebody said that to me, let's say I put myself in, I did what you did, and that happened back to me, I would stop and think, if I wanted to entertain this to begin with, there's a chance I'll ignore it. There's actually a good chance I'll ignore it. If somebody wants to not make me feel good, I can ignore it or not. And I don't do some kind of equation like, oh, I had a great day, okay, I'll listen to this bad thing. Or I had a really bad day, I don't want to listen to this other bad thing. I don't do that equation. There's no such thing as a bad day. There's a bad moment, but then, as I say, this too shall pass. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, if I'm wrong about 3 things consecutive, let's fucking get it done. I'm wrong. Let's get it out there. You know what? I'm John Angel. I'm fucking already moving on to the next thing. I'm wrong, but I will have learned what I got wrong. I don't get caught up. I don't get distracted. I don't get stuck. I move. I move and I move and I move. That's me. And it's just given me some great fucking abilities. It's allowed me to be an individual that is well-rounded, get along with a lot of people, entertain a lot of other perspectives, and generally give a shit about my fellow human beings. But then I still, in the same token, get to be that unique, weird thing that I am, with all these weird beliefs. And the frame of reference has always been me, never the world. But I give, you know, for me, it's great to generally give a shit about what other people think, whether it's something I'm wrong or right about. That's cool. But to know not to take it too serious, to let it go too deep, too far, that's what really matters. And people need to learn how to feel bad about themselves, because if you learn how to feel bad about yourself, it's a very powerful tool, because no one taught you what to care about or how to care about it, how much to care about it. That's what's missing in all our lives. But that's experience. As I say, IQ gets you hired, EQ gets you promoted. You know?
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, dude, I'm full of these things. I used to write this blog that I sold for $12 million about dating. And I was married 2.5 years, got divorced. My ex-wife became my biggest stalker, really super obsessed stalker. And to deal with that, I went to a therapist and I started this blog. And it shot to #1 in the world, called Chateau Hardessay, which now I can say because it's finally shut down. I sold it and they shut it down because I was contractually obligated to help them maintain it for a year. And I knew that once my year was up, they'd last maybe 3 or 4. They surprisingly lasted 5. And then I just knew they weren't going to be able to find the right writers and people to keep it going. So by virtue of them failing, I re-inherit all my rights to it. I can start it up tomorrow if I want to legally. So remember, I was, what was I, 32 years old and sold this for $12 million. So
that leads to the big question of at the end of the podcast, which is, are you richer than Trump or poorer than Trump?
I'm worth $500 million.
So potentially richer than Trump.
I am richer than Trump. If I can actually, most of my country money is not even in this country. IRS, if you're listening, that's very true. I'm sorry, but maybe my names were on the Panama Papers. I won't tell you. But if I were to actually cash out. Listen, I can wake up tomorrow in any country and I've got money.
Did you say billion with a B?
$500 million, yeah. And that's not my companies and everything. It's worth over $2 billion. That's that. I'm talking $500 million, like actual cold hard cash, counting it, like accessible to me, done.
Man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now, don't get caught up in life about money. You get good at a lot of okay. This is how
a lot of what I do right now, I feel.
This is how you want to get rich.
Doesn't make me money.
No. It can. Here, I'm going to tell you what is a better pursuit. Okay, I'm going to give all of you
I don't think I've been
Okay,
pursuing money. That's the irony.
You know the Gary Vee guy?
Yeah.
He doesn't have shit on me. I'll run circles around him.
He's a very interesting guy.
Me and a ton of friends that I could think of, people that have helped me out. Fun little fact, rich people will never fucking tell you how they get rich. Get over it.
Sounds about right.
Let's get it done. Let's get it done. But I'm actually going to do this. I'm actually really going to do this. If you are someone who is worth less than $100,000 today, I don't care if you're an immigrant or not, whatever your circumstance. Maybe you were rich yesterday, today you're not. I don't care. I don't care. Let's just talk about one specific personality, one specific type of person. Somebody that is now worth less than $100,000. And they want to make $1 million because they just want to change their life a little bit. They want to have good health care. They want to be able to get their teeth worked on. They want to have nice nails. They want to dress nice. You know, just basic stuff that any person is interested in. Mm-hmm. Okay? You want a little more money because you want the very little things you want to attract to. We're not talking about going out and buying expensive cars. So here's how you get rich. You have to create a dialogue within yourself about certainty. You have to understand that you're good, you're awesome, you're great. So it's okay if people say you're not or try to convince you otherwise, as long as you have that dialogue with yourself first. That's very, very important. Self-certainty and cultivating that, whether it takes months, it should not take more than a year. You give yourself reasonably a year to create a level of self-certainty. And we're not talking cocky, we're not talking ego. Certainty that you're cool with yourself. Mm-hmm. Very important. Okay, and if you're a trust fund kid, this does not count. You don't go make money. You go find, you can get rich selling things that you're not interested in. Just by the act of trading, you'll be fine. And you can go get rich by doing things that you like. So, wow, that's very liberating to know I can go make a shit ton of money with something I don't give a shit about or something I'm very passionate about. So don't convince yourself, and this is like buying an Onyx RCR. Getting rich is like getting an Onyx RCR. You do not convince yourself of it. It's obviously fucking hot and awesome. You get it. Getting rich and whatever is hot and awesome. Great. Same thing. So you don't say, oh, I'm going to justify or convince myself or explain to myself that what I like to do is what's going to get me wealthy. No. That's not how it works. If you create that dialogue of certainty with yourself, like you really learn to like yourself, certainty, give a shit about yourself for real. Then you move on to, okay, I can sell microphones that I'm not into, or I can sell lights that I'm into. And I tell you that either one of those two choices will get you wealth. What are you going to choose? Any reasonable person is going to choose the thing they like. Mm-hmm. But you still arrived at wealth. So you can make money at anything in life. You can walk up to a cash register, look at the ticket of the service company behind it, call them and say, I can add a value to your company. Boom, boom, boom. Discussions later. You've made your money. I've literally made friends money doing that. I took a friend that was a waiter and told him, go become a tennis instructor. But John, I don't know how to play tennis. Yeah, well, most of them don't. Just bullshit people. It's the relationships, it's the people you're going to meet, it's the circumstances you're going to create that's worth lying and bullshitting that you're a tennis instructor. Now he's a Bentley dealership main manager dude that makes $500,000 a year. And this was a waiter. Okay, certainty creates focus. Certainty creates better control of lacking in distractions. So no one needs to come up with a new idea. Just certainty, and the ability to not fucking become delusional to yourself.
So that to quickly bring that to an application to a selfishly personal side to me. How do I have this smallish company here that we do TV commercials and all that kind of stuff. How do I use your rules for life, if we call it that, to sort of push my way up into a bigger bracket?
A friend of mine is in advertising. So I've got friends that have got very big, very serious media companies. I mean, they're the ones that told me, John, by the way, as a joke, you're an actual influencer. I'm like, you're kidding, right? No, John, we've done your shit. You're a legit influencer. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And that's really how I feel about it. Another friend, well, so that's that media company. Another friend was getting into media, and I said to him, he asked me kind of the same question, and I said, just charge more money. I'm like, how much you charge? He's like, he gave me some round number, something like $300. I'm like, okay, well, make it 3,000. So I'm telling a friend to go from 300 to 3,000. He's like, John, but you need, and so he spent a half hour like, John, you need to justify that for me. I'm like, dude, make it up. That's my point. Fucking make it up. Just lie. Just make it up. Pretend. Say 3,000. I can't go from 300 to 3,000. I said, make it up. And one day he went and he called me nervously. He's like, I got this person, this deal's going to go down, and I'm thinking about doing the thing you told me. And I asked him, would you be okay if you lost this one? He's like, yeah. Okay, well, make up those numbers.
I have done that on certain things, to be fair. And
okay. Certainty creates self-value. If you're poor and you need money, you're never going to be as good as the really rich guy that wants that money more than you. See, the difference between the rich and the poor is the rich guy wants that money way more than the poor person. And that you have to have that ability to say, what is your certainty to be able to create your self-worth and relative, and can you carry on in that market? So my friend makes up this number I told him, and he got the money he asked for. So you don't get... It's a matter of fact, it's really weird. If you read the fucking Bible, all the answers everything I'm saying is actually in the Bible. It's literally in there. It's really, I'm not even a Bible person. I just happen to read the Bible.
Clearly.
My last name is Angel. I don't have a fucking choice. You know? So it's like I read the Bible. I'm like, oh, everything to make $1 billion is in here. It's interesting.
I've done that with certain deals with companies where like they, you know, when I first started my own business, one of my first big clients, because basically before that, I was freelancing in the role that what I do in the film industry, in the post-production. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get bigger, higher paid stuff. And I said, you know what, but the companies charge wild numbers. And I was like, but if I'm a company and I can charge wild numbers. So I did that, and it worked for like the first 6 months.
When we... two of my partners convinced me into doing websites, and we did them exceptionally well. This was like 8 years ago. And so I said, okay, well, let me set up the price book, what we're going to charge. The technical book just for the website, it doesn't matter if it was 2 pages or 50 pages, was minimum $50,000. The book printed out about your very own website we're making for you, 50 grand, and people paid it. So just to give you some insightful information. So here's the thing. I will always win these arguments. I've never lost these arguments. And I win these arguments for the sake of myself and for the very people that I'm arguing with. I'm very good at taking care of myself, but I'm very good at taking care of others. So what if you're somebody that could draw a logo? And I know people have told me that you charge $500 for that logo, right? But your successful typical logo designer is $3,000. So now I'm going to make the decision. See, what Mick and I was talking about, now I'm going to reverse. I'm going to flip that script. I'm going to go to the logo designer and say, you know what? That person's worth $5,000 for that logo. So I go into the logo person and say, listen, I've already made my mind. I want to hire you, and I'm going to give you $5,000 for the logo. And then that person says to me, but no, I'm $300. Listen. Do you want to lose my business? Okay, I'm gonna leave here. Just do me a favor. I'm gonna give you $5,000. Get this logo done for me. Got it? Are we done here? And then now I've left that office, and that logo person's like, "What the fuck just happened?" That's the decision everyone needs to make. Oh, see now I'm starting. I could say a couple more things that start to really reveal what the rich won't share with anyone. There's a lot. There's a lot because it's a real mind fuck. It's a mind fuck. But I got to tell you, the most important part is weird shit. I told you, I role played with the cop. Like, hey, cop friend of mine, incriminate me. And then he came up with a thing, and I almost fell for it. We use imagination. We have fun. We do it in art. We do it in how we carve our wheels or bikes. Use it in life, you know? When you tell a story to somebody, add some vivid detail and color to it. You can all do it. If we love watching TV, okay, this is something I would tell my girlfriend. How is it that we can go through 12 years of high school,
staring at multiple teachers from kindergarten to 12th grade and have various examples of a teacher in front of us, and we're watching it. And how is it that if I were to walk up to you and say, okay, listen, you just spent 12 years in front of multiple teachers. I want you to go in front of the class and teach. You know what most people are going to do? They're going to be like, I don't know how to teach. But dude, you stared at multiple people teaching for 12 years.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's in your head. Just dig it out. So fun fact, the vast majority of the world is not stupid. I'm going to tell you something. Intelligence, most of the time, 90% of the time, is a choice. You can always be smarter. Being intelligent is a choice. I'm a high school dropout. Everybody thought I was going to be a plumber. Listen, this is fucked up. I saw the movie Peggy Sue Got Married in 5th grade, and I made a decision to not take school serious to the very last moment when it really counted. So I had the worst attendance record ever of any student. I cut classes, went for pizza. I didn't study shit. I still don't even know algebra that well because I knew I had an inclination that it was not going to matter to me. Plus, I could pay somebody else to do it for me. Because I had a conversation with my dad. I was like, Dad, I'm at a crossroads. And this was 8th grade. I said, do I become the kind of person that works really hard for somebody else, or do I get other people to work hard for me? My dad, who happened to have been the mayor of Medellin and a politician and other things himself, was like, that's funny because I wanted to teach you how to make other people work really hard for you. So I was like, oh, we're kind of on the same level here.
Interesting.
Yeah, anyway, we should end this podcast because I want to go ride my fucking Onyx.
This has been very fun. I concur. I think it's definitely time to ride, as they say.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been very insightful. We have like the John Angel rules for life.
Dude, I got a lot more, man. Yeah, listen, I'm going to start a YouTube. I'm never going to do podcasts. And if I do, it's not going to be like Mix. And it's not going to be about this shit. I'm just going to show people. I just want to share.
There'll be a lot of pointing, first-person perspective.
I'm enjoying all this. I want to point with my fingers.
Yeah.
I want everybody to have what I have. Like, have fun, smile, don't take shit serious. Be comfortable and everything. This is my first podcast, but I feel like I'm doing anything else. Normal.
Did you like I sent you on IG a few weeks back where I was just like pointing at random things and I was like, look, I'm John Angel.
Absolutely.
Here's a sandwich.
If I got to you and I made you point fingers, then you
did it.
That means that you can make other people do the same thing too. Listen, as good as I am awesome, I can be a horribly terrible person. And I have no problem being a terrible person. But I just don't have the natural desire to want to be. But I know I can. I told my dad when I was very young, you took me out of Colombia because you knew that I would be the next Pablo Escobar. You knew I'd be that guy, you know? And it's true. It's true, you know? And so I want to say that what a lot of us think of about our own lives, I'm sorry to tell you, you're all wrong. We're all wrong. We need new perspectives. We need some new understandings. And the wonderful thing is I don't have to be the one to teach you. Human history is a very long story. And when I worked at research and development at IBM, we had a whole building across the road from us that was the IBM historical building. History on competitors. A lot of the answers of life have already been solved to us. They just got lost in the moment or were relative. So a lot of the hard work has been done for all of us, you know?
Yeah.
And if you just tap in here and there, a little Wikipedia there, a little, you know. Hey, listen, movies. I love movies. If we love and are attracted and entertained by movies about those characters, let's plagiarize them. You like that scene? Go play that. Secretly go play that scene with your friend. See what it's like for you. See what it feels like for them and you. Humans fuck originality. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. Fuck that shit. Copy a little bit. And what's going to happen when you copy in life is you will make it your own style and recipe. Firestone, Bridgestone, Goodyear. Oh, look at that. 3 tire companies. But somehow they're different. That's us. Just copy each other. We're very good at that.
I like it. Good way to end it. Thank you so much for coming by.
I'm really ending this podcast because I got to pee again.
I've never had someone try to end my podcast, so I won't let you have the last word. Really quickly, what is your IG handle so people want to reach out and or watch your stuff? Or
John Angel NYC. So
It's very deliberate.
Yeah, John H1NYC. It's an easy one. You can't screw it up. It's
Cool.
pretty good. I like my own IG.
Go follow him and watch his crazy antics. He's always just depicting with the finger what's going on in his life, and it's fun to watch.
Exactly.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you have a nice, decent bathroom that's actually clean here.
Is it?
It is.
It's like a middle school bathroom.
Actually,